Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Firedup Network. Welcome to Fired Up Live, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network. For tonight, Thursday, February 16th, I'd like to take the special opportunity and wish my sister a very, very happy birthday. I love you. Also, I want to take the special opportunity and wish Steve Simmons a happy birthday tomorrow. We're going to begin the show like we always do with Courtney Radell, the Renaissance Mama, part of female empowerment movement. Female empowerment movement. Femme is a part of the Fired Up Network.
Hi, friends. I'm Courtney. I'm a performer, speaker, and a writer. I'm a mama to 3 crazy boys and a super sweet dog. I decided 12 years ago that I needed to create a business that was for me instead of me working for it. I'm a multi-passionate entrepreneur who may be considered a serial entrepreneur by some, but then I realized that all of my businesses focused on connection, community, and creating an incredible experience. I cannot wait to share with you how to make small but mighty changes in your life to affect your overall well-being and create a life and business you want to get up in the morning for. That's right, my friends. I am the Renaissance Mama. Hi friends, it's Courtney, the Renaissance Mama, and I want to thank you so much for checking out the show today, for connecting with me, for being here. I just want to thank you. I hope you are doing well and life is treating you good and things are happening in your life, happening in your business. I just wish the very best for all of you. So I thought today, I originally was going to throw out an episode all about these lessons I've recently learned from my students. I just finished 2 of my biggest projects of the year, and I'm working on a 3rd, and it all has to do with teaching kids theater and musical theater. I've created this new digital course, and yes, I am learning as I put all this stuff together, but I also learn a lot from my students. Then when I thought, okay, if I put out this episode, is it going to resonate with everybody? What about the people that aren't teachers, that aren't teaching people, that aren't connecting with people in the same way? But I dug a little bit deeper and I kind of thought about it even more. And the fact that that relationship that I have with my students and those lessons that I've learned, I really believe are very similar to that relationship you as an entrepreneur may have with your customers or your potential customers, or perhaps you're a leader, then yes, all of the lessons will definitely help you out with a new staff member coming on. If you're a parent, it could definitely help out with relationships with your kids and those kind of communications back and forth. So I figured today is going to be about that. It's going to be the lessons that I've learned from my students, but how you can use those same lessons with your customers or your clients, potential customers, with your kids, with your team, who knows? I think it really kind of goes across the board, because at the end of the day, when you think about it, aren't you always kind of teaching somebody or sharing with somebody? If it's a new customer, you may be teaching them, what your new product is or what your new service is. Maybe you are teaching them why they should buy from you rather than somebody else. Maybe it's a product that needs information. I used to sell essential oils years ago before they were cool, before they were in. And it was always this struggle because I had to take such a long time to teach people the value of the oils, how to use them, how they were made, all the different kind of science about them before I could even talk about selling or buying or anything like that. So I was very much in that teacher mode. And then obviously as a parent, we're always in teacher mode, whether we want to be or not. Our kiddos are like picking up everything we are saying. They are watching us, observing us, everything, all of the time. So I really believe, even if you're not a teacher, you are going to enjoy this episode of some of the lessons that I've recently taken away from my students. So the first thing that I strongly believe you need before you do anything is you need a roadmap. And a roadmap is perfect to share with your students, with your customers, even with your kids. What I think is so important about giving people kind of the concept of what is going to happen, it helps people kind of calm down, get on the same page as you, get you really excited to what you're going to work on, but it also just really helps people buy in to what you're selling. Whether you're a teacher or you're actually selling something or you're trying to convince your kids with something, you want everybody to be on the same page. You want them to know where you're coming from. You want them to know what they can expect. And then hopefully you're building that connection and that community and that relationship so they are also excited and on board to work with you and to see what's going to happen next. So when I start any class, we always do these very simple, traditional kind of breathe in, breathe out exercises, but I also say, okay, here is the game plan for today. And I share exactly what we're going to be working on, how we're going to do it. I might not give them every single detail because they don't need that yet, but I want to give them a nice overview of like what they can expect. So then their minds can get clear on like that's what's going to happen for them. They can start thinking about ideas. They can start, getting excited to get involved to what's happening. And I may even share, okay, we're working on this for now because it's going to lead to this down the road. Kind of drives me nuts when people are, trying to be sort of secretive and mysterious and holding things back from people. Like I feel like if you are in a relationship, so any of these relationships, whether it be student or customer or, a team or your kids, there's no benefit to really keep things hidden from somebody. You want to open that communication. You want to get on that same page. You want to get focused together and build that relationship and that like teamwork together. Have you ever been in a workshop and all you're thinking about is, okay, what are they going to do? What are they going to sell to me next? I mean, I don't know about you, but as a consumer, I feel like there's a lot of times that I have my guards up. I am not 100% trusting people. If I'm in a workshop, I'm thinking, okay, how much is this going to cost me? Okay, why do I really need this? Okay, why? And it drives me nuts when they either wait to the end or they wait for you to call them back, or they wait for they have to set up another meeting. And I get that that is one strategy. But one of my favorite things is when you go to a workshop, whether it's online or in person, and they say right off the bat, before they even start the workshop, they're like, okay, here's the plan for today. But before I even get to the plan, I'm going to share with you how much this is going to cost. You're right. I'm going to try and tell you something. Here is what it is. I'm going to say it all up front. And then here is our plan for the rest of the day. So you have that moment of like, oh, I get it. That's what you're selling. Perfect. I can decide if I want it later. I can even think about it as we're learning, but I'm not like nervous and waiting to hear the end result. Same as sometimes when you buy something, I feel like unless you totally trust that person or that customer, that brand, that you're always sort of on edge of like, okay, well, what else are they going to try and sell me? Do I need something else with this product to make it work? Am I going to need more? Are they always going to be trying to sell me more? Or if you're very clear with your customers or your potential customers of what the roadmap is, then you guys are working together. Then you're not being a sneaky salesman and being like, hey, look what else, look what else. Then you guys are on the same page, you're connected, you're working together, and they are going to love what you're doing. They're going to love that you're so open and honest and proud of what you're selling, that it doesn't have to be a trick. I don't have to sneakily try and get someone to buy something. I can say, this is what I do and I love. Here's the roadmap. Here's the picture. Here's the vision. I want you to join me. I think you can benefit from it. And if you can't, That's too bad. I'm really sorry. Maybe there's something else you would like down the road. But here's the roadmap. Here's the vision. Here's what we're doing. When it comes to kids, when my kids were little, I always had this gigantic board on like what the week schedule was going to look like. And I had it in writing. I had it in visuals. I had it just available for the kids. And I feel like it was such a sense of like calm and focus, but they knew what was coming up next. It was like, okay, today's Monday. Let's look at Monday. Let's look at what you can expect and how your day will go. I mean, obviously in life, things are going to pop up, but it's really nice to be able to give kids that sense of like, all right, here's what we think is going to be coming next. Here's what we're planning for. Here's what you can envision in your head. Kids don't like change. I mean, nobody really loves change, but if there's a way you can get them, on that same page, get them working with you, get them focused and excited for what's to come, then they're not always nervous about that what is next thing. When you're talking about team members, of course, this is a great way to get everybody on that same page, get everyone connected. Give them the plan for the day. Give them the plan for the 3 months. Give them the plan for the year. Go from there and say, yes, these are not all the things you need to worry about right now, but I want to invite you in on the plan. I want you to be with me and build this thing together and really be a team. Do you see how that's different than kind of being like sneakily giving people little bits of information here or there, little tidbits, little crumbs? Instead, let's be open and honest. Let's get people on board and give them the roadmap that they need to get on board with you and to get excited and to get energized and want to do what is next. The next thing I have recently learned, and I think I've always known, but it's been definitely more of an aha moment, is when you're talking to students or clients or kids or teammates, is you do not assume. Don't assume they know what you're talking about. Don't assume that, you are sometimes even speak in the same language. Like, you don't assume anything. Go from the beginning. Make the details clear. I've recently been working on a digital course, and this has really made me slow down as an instructor and really break down the lessons, because you're not having that communication back and forth of people being able to ask questions, or you're not able to see them go, I don't quite understand. So you want to really make sure what you are sharing and what you are teaching, that you don't assume they know any of it. There's a lot of times in musical theater with my kids that I'm, okay, we're going to do this step. And I'm assuming they know what that step means. We might have done it once, we might have done it twice, but it doesn't mean they know it as well as I do it. So why not break it down even further and say, okay, we're going to be doing let's use box step, for example. I use box step a lot in some of my choreography. Let's box step, and remember, this is how we do it. And I'll break down the step. We do our right foot and then cross and then bring my right foot back and left foot. Let's try that again. This way, this way, this way, this way. All right, now that's in our bodies, let's put it into our choreography. So you never want to assume that your students are understanding everything you're saying. You don't want to assume they're starting at a certain level, even if you have talked about that thing before. You want to break it down slow and easy and really get them to learn those skills and learn them again and get focused and clear with what you're trying to teach. When it comes to customers, we never want to assume that they are at a certain level. We want to give them the information they need so they can make the purchase. We don't want to assume they're in a certain situation. We don't want to assume that they, can't afford something. So many businesses do this. So many businesses do this when they're trying to sell to their ideal person and they're nervous that it's too much. So instead of talking to people or figuring out or what's happening, they assume that something costs too much and they lower their prices. Maybe that's not why people weren't buying. Maybe you needed to be a little bit more clear on what that product was or what that service was or how it benefits your ideal person. If you really broke down those steps and that information for your ideal customer, I think they would be so much quicker to wanting to buy what you're selling. Or if it's a service, really understanding what it is that you do and how it can really benefit them. One of the biggest lessons when you're trying to connect with customers or potential customers is, what do they need to know and understand and believe before they buy that thing from you? Like, what situation do they need to be in, and all that information before they can buy from you. If you want your service, your product, anything to sell, you need to understand that. And you can only do that by not assuming people know that information already. So really breaking down the information and getting clear. With kids, it's so easy sometimes to assume that they know what you're talking about. I think especially as my kids get a little bit older and bigger, in my head, I just assume that they get it. They understand things. We're about to go on a cruise soon and I am so excited. I'm so pumped. And I was sitting there the other night with my 11-year-old and I was showing him a video of the excursions we can book. And he looked really confused. And I was like, buddy, what's going on? What's wrong? And he was like, well, that's weird. I mean, that video you're showing me, it was of the zip line. He was, this video you're showing me of the zip line, it looks like it's on land. And I was like, yeah, it is on land. He didn't realize that on the cruise, you stop at locations and you're allowed to get off. It was just so sweet. It was so endearing. In my head, I had assumed, of course he knows what a cruise is. But he didn't. He thought that we took this boat and we just sailed on the boat the entire time. And of course he would think that. Why would he think any different? I didn't give him that information. I didn't break it down. I just assumed he knew something that he didn't. So when it comes to kids, don't assume they know, even as they get bigger. It's easier sometimes just to slow down and explain or say something or really break it down to them, to really get that communication open, to get that connection, to build your relationship even further. You can just imagine when you're thinking of a new team, staff or whoever you may have, maybe they're not new, maybe they're old, but how often do we fall in that tricky little place of where we assume that somebody knows what we're talking about? We assume we've given instructions, they're going to go ahead and do it. But they might not have felt comfortable enough to ask a question. They may, kind of get what you wanted them to do, but weren't 100%. So then, it comes back later and things aren't done. You're going to be disappointed. So take that assumption off the table. Don't even do it. Sometimes I even have to slow down myself and my thinking because I think that other people's, minds work the same way, or they go to the same conclusions, or they're thinking the same thing, but they're not. So it's sometimes better just to slow down, break it down. If you're giving someone instructions, breaking it all down and then going from there. It never hurts to repeat something again, especially if it's something important, especially if it's a point you really want to get across and you want audience, but you want someone to really resonate with them. You want them to retain that information. You want to, if you're giving them instructions, you want them to take that in instruction and like go with it. You want to make sure you are breaking it right down and you're not assuming anybody is anywhere. The next thing you want to do when you are connecting with your students, your customers, your clients, your kiddos, your teammates is you want to listen. And I feel like I try my very hardest to be a good listener, but sometimes it's hard when you are in teacher mode or you're in instructor mode or you're in leadership mode or mom mode or whatever it may be. You have a goal and you're trying to get a point across. You're trying to get information out there. So it's hard sometimes to stop and listen and take the questions and see what's happening. We had this particular group of kiddos that we just finished with where were kids that like just needed the answers all the time. So I'd be in the middle of talking and I'd see a hand up. Okay, hold on 1 second. I see you. I hear you. I'm going to hear you. In 1 minute, I need to finish this thought. And another hand. And it was just question. But they were the kind of kids that needed the answers. Before they could move on to the next step, they needed to know that answer right now. It's like they couldn't go forward. They couldn't think to the next thing because they wanted the answer. And as a teacher, it's so easy to be like, okay, just wait, I'll get through the thing and then I'll take the questions or then I'll have time or hopefully I'll have time. And sometimes you don't even have time. But it's really important to just take that break, take that moment and listen to the questions, especially if there's repeat questions. If somebody or multiple people are asking the same thing, that to me is starting to signify, okay, wait a minute. There is something wrong in the system. I've either haven't taught it well enough. Maybe I didn't break down the steps far enough. Maybe I've made something a little bit more too difficult. Maybe I'm asking too much and they can't handle doing, this and this at the same time. Maybe I haven't looked at all the angles. So really taking that time to listen to the questions, listen to repeat questions, listen to what people are saying and taking that information and really using it to how I'm going to teach the next thing or what I'm going to focus on next, what really needs that priority. When it comes to those potential customers and clients, listening is a hard one, but it is so important. Once again, if you notice a lot of your customers or your clients or even potential customers are sort of asking the same questions or making the same comments, or maybe you notice when you hit your sales page that they all seem to be getting stopped at the same spot. That's another way of listening, looking at that information, looking at what's happening, looking at your customer experience and where things are not quite adding up. If you're like, okay, all my customers got to my sales page, they watched the video, and then, this pop-up comes up and nobody's hopping in on that, freebie or whatever it is, maybe there's a disconnect there. Maybe that freebie isn't lining up with those potential customers. Maybe there's something else, but really kind of reaching out to your people and see if they are telling you information. Even sometimes it may come as negative information, or sometimes you just don't want to hear it because you're like, I know what I'm doing. That is the time more than ever you want to listen. You want to listen to what they're saying. You want to check in those questions. Like I said, if they're the same questions or the same comments or the same, sort of feeling that keeps coming up, is there some other way that you can explain to those potential customers or connect with them or reach to them or make that experience even easier? Are they getting stuck because, you're asking for information here and they don't know which one is really for them? Is it all just becoming too overwhelming that they're like, I don't know, and they're closing the computer? So really breaking that down and listening to your customer, those potential customers, and how you can make their process even easier. when it comes to kiddos and you're a parent, you want to listen. You want to listen as much as you possibly can. And trust me, I know I get busy. I get into the routine of things. I might be in the middle of something, but I've really tried recently to fully stop what I'm doing and listen to what one of my boys are saying. If they're telling me a story about their day at school, or if they're asking me a question, or if they're, just trying to connect with me, but really stopping and listening and letting them know that I am hearing you. I'm communicating with you. I want to hear from you. I want to be that person you talk to. My boys are going through this very exciting, nerve-wracking phase for a mom, but they all have little crushes and girlfriends and things like that. And I've been finding out this information after the fact, and it hurt. It hurt that I'm not the first person that they would want to tell. And it hurts that they feel like they don't want to share these things with me. And that was a bit of a realization lately that I thought, there's something I'm doing wrong. I want to be that person they can talk to. And I get it that they might not feel comfortable 100% of the time, but I want them to know that I will always be there to listen, always be there to just hear what they're saying. I don't need to comment. I don't need to give advice. I don't need to tell them, what I would do. I am just there to listen and be there. And if they need more, I can give more. And that happens sometimes too when you're listening in conversation and someone's like, I just want to vent. And you're like, cool, I'll just listen. And then you notice they're asking for advice. You're like, cool, I can give advice. Then you're noticing they want to come with a game plan. You're like, cool, I can do that. So listening to your people when they have given you the opportunity to listen, so key. And then of course, as a leader need to listen. Leaders need to take in that information, because those are the people that you need to hear from. They're giving you the information that you don't necessarily have. And even if you are leading them, it doesn't mean you know the day-to-day, or you don't know the new experience. You don't know exactly what's happening. So as a leader, you always want to try and take that time to listen, see if there's repeat questions, see if there's repeat situations or comments, or what is happening, where's the disconnect. And you can only figure that stuff out if you really stop and you really listen. The next thing I highly suggest you do, if you're teaching or students or customers, the whole shebang, you get it, is you want to share sometimes why you are doing something. You want to break down kind of that behind the scenes and why something is happening. I know for myself as a student, or as someone who might be a potential customer or anything like that, I really appreciate sometimes when people show me what is actually happening, showing me connecting the dots, showing me why they are teaching me A, because it's going to line up with B and C later on. There's a lot of times in theater and in musical theater, you play these games and the kids love it and they have a great time and they're like, woo, woo, woo. But every once in a while, I stop and slow down the class and I said, okay, I know you guys really like that game and I hope you like this, but I want to tell you why we play that game. What is behind that game that's going to give you skills that when we move on stage, you are already going to have ingrained in your body. So sharing your why with your students is sometimes even a better way to build that connection, to build that teamwork. Once again, it's getting everybody on the same page, letting them know that this is why I'm telling you this. This is why I want you to hear it. This is why it's important. So maybe they will take that information, or, the next time they play that game, they'll think about that moment of oh yeah, remember, this is why we're doing this. when it comes to your customers and potential customers, I think sharing your why is so amazing. It is how people are going to know, like, and trust you. And maybe you're sharing your why of why you do what you do. That is one of the best ways to connect an audience, a new audience, a growing audience, people that love you best. If you let them in on why you do what you do, why you love it, why you get up in the morning to do it, maybe what made you decide this is what I needed to do, let them in, bring them into your community, bring them into that relationship, build that communication of why you do something. Maybe you want to share why they should buy from you. So you've really got to get clear on why should they? What is the reasoning? Why is that important? Sharing all of those details with customers and potential customers is just going to make your relationship so much stronger. And then when they buy from you, not only is it a one experience buy and done, now you've created that relationship. So they potentially will buy from you again, or maybe they're going to share your name with somebody else. Maybe they are going to, tell everybody about this great new product and this is why they do this, is why, right? Like it builds that whole connection. With my kids, it's hard sometimes to remember to slow down to let them know why I'm doing something. But as a parent, you are always that role model. You're always being watched. You're being, they are listening to you. Sometimes they say things or mimic things or things just happen. So sometimes while I'm doing something, I like to slow down and say, hey, do you know why I'm doing this? And they will be like, no, Mom, I have no idea. So once again, kind of goes back to that, not assuming that people know things, and to take the time and to take the extra moment to like break it down and show them and share with them and let them in. One of my favorite moments in theater, in musical theater, is kind of when they break that fourth wall and they might look out to the audience and just let them in on a little secret. That's what I feel like you could be doing with your kids and your customers and your students and your team. Let them know why you're doing something, why something is important, and get everybody really connected. As a team, the why should be one of the biggest things you do as soon as you start, as soon as people are there. And even as I start hiring people, it's like the why needs to be one of the first things. They need to know upfront why I do what I do. Then I can go to how, then I can know what I'm looking for. That's fine. But this is why. This is why we do what we do. And then we get the results we get. And it's sharing the why. So the why, I could talk about it all day, but the why and sharing why you're doing something really builds that connection and community. The next thing you want to think about when you're connecting with all these different relationships is how somebody learns. And as an instructor, it's been so interesting to see these different groups of kids. So this year in particular, I had my younger group of kids that were aged about 7 to 13. And then I had this older group of kids that were 13 to about 17. And every single week, it blew my mind. I would go from the one group and I was like all pumped up and high energy and I'm sweating and I'm like, yeah. Then I hop into the other group and it was like, totally different vibe. How I spoke to them had to be different. How I communicated expectations had to be different. When I would give them the roadmap of what was going to happen for the day, it looked very different with the two different groups because they were very different people. There was this group of young kids that liked the high energy, and then this group of older kids that did not want the high energy at all. But I had to really learn how to communicate in a way that they would get, that they would understand, and to really, once again, slow down my particular process and maybe adjust what I was doing or adapt what I was doing to start really connecting with that group and connecting with the people that were there in front of me. I think as an instructor, or if you're trying to sell something to somebody, or if you're trying to connect with anybody, it is so key to really see how those people, that group, how they take in information, how they learn, how they use it. I mean, there's been so many studies now where teachers are trying to provide information to kids because not everybody learns the same way. I know for me, as I get older, it has become so clear of like what a visual learner I am. And the fact that things really don't sit in, they don't, I don't retain information unless I can see it, unless I see what's happening, I see what's going on. I can even like put the puzzle pieces together. I want to see it. So if there's ways that if you are teaching people, you can teach them almost in different ways. And I know it sounds time consuming, and I know you're like, oh my goodness, I can't do all of this. But especially when I'm creating these resources for a digital product, and I'm not getting, like I said before, that communication back and forth, is I want to give them as many different ways as they can learn as possible. So what I've been doing is having the visual of the video, and I'm trying to do it one way, and then even turning my body around sometimes and showing them how I'm doing my movement, so how movements may look from that angle, right? So they really get the opportunity to really visualize it all. And then I'm also writing instructions down. Maybe that instruction has big, bright colors or makes it interesting or something that's going to grab their attention. And then I'm also speaking what I want them to do and trying to connect with them on a level that they might be able to understand that way. So really slowing down how you teach, so you can see if they're able to learn that particular way. A lot of people like that hands-on. So is there a way you can get them to do something that's tactile? So then they're going to retain that information. When you're trying to connect with those customers, new customers, old customers, once again, throwing out something on social media that might just be a visual might work for some people. Maybe you need to add some video. Now they want to see movement. They want to see more things. Maybe that's what's going to grab their attention. Recently on Instagram Reels, the most popular thing is actually music and somebody talking, but just the words coming up. So now they're reading the words as well. So really trying to give people, even when you're connecting with them on what you think is a simple level, like throwing out a poster, a flyer, or an image, and expecting people that like that's the only way they're going to get it or understand. Like, is there other ways you connect with your ideal customer? Can you send people a quick voice memo? Can you send them a text? Give them all those different ways. And then once again, if there's any way people can tactically like learn something or do something and then try and give them the sale. Now that they've had that experience and they have it in their bodies and they're like, oh yeah, I really liked that. I mean, for years, right? You'd go to the mall and someone's like, oh, give you a sample of something, you try it on, you're like, oh yeah, okay, I feel that. Once you feel it and you're like, I get it, I like it, I want to buy it. Or if you just smelt it, it might have smelled good. If you just looked at it, I don't know, it's not that exciting. So is there ways you can really kind of open up how you're sharing to your audience so they're learning in different ways? I know my 3 boys learn very, very differently. So day to day, trying to support them either with school or even just like life lessons, I really have to be sort of aware of like, okay, I don't know if that point got across to him because I said it, but I can see through his eyes that he's kind of just like not really listening. So maybe I can ask him a question. Maybe there's something I can get him to do so it's more tactile. All these different ways that you can try and connect and really teach and get it that people are going to learn. And when it comes to your team, it is so important for you to understand how the different people learn, communicate, how they take information in and how they use it. So can you have a chance if you can really look at each individual? You may have on your team, and maybe you're big for that, but really look at each person, even your close tight-knit group, of how they learn and how you can best give them information or instructions so that they could be as successful as possible. And the last lesson I recently learned from my students is you need to give people an opportunity to get there on their own. And what I mean by this is when I was working with this last cast and I had given them their lines and I've shown them how they wanted to do things, we've worked on it, we rehearsed, we were getting there, but they were very, very, like I said before, particular on, the details of things. They want to know the answers. They had so many questions that we did one run of the whole show, and they were backstage just asking the stage manager a billion questions. And she said, I don't have the answers. I'm sorry. I don't have all the answers. Need to figure out what's next. So she then gave them that clear expectation of like, okay, by tomorrow, you need to do this and this and this. I'm not giving you answers. I'm out. I'm done. And it gave them all that opportunity to, number one, build that confidence of like, okay, let me figure this out myself. But it also gave them that strength, and it gave them that level of commitment to the project now, because they're like, oh, I've got this. I know what I'm doing. I'm more committed. Someone's not just telling me what to do, but I figured it out. I know what I need to do next. I know what's happening. When it comes to customers, nobody likes being sold to. No one likes buy this in your face, too much. But have you ever been in a situation where you hear about a product, an example, you see this, you see how it's going to benefit you, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, you know what? I do need that. So if there's a way you can give your customers that opportunity to get there by themselves, you're not telling them, you're not forcing them, you're not, making them do anything. But if they all of a sudden go, oh yeah, I do need that product, right? We've all been there. We've had those moments. So how do you give them that opportunity that they're going to get there by themselves? When you teach, the last thing you want to do is for people to feel like they can't do anything without you. You don't want to be their rock. Yes, you want to support them. Yes, you want to answer questions. Yes, you want to be there for them, but you need them to be able to do things on their own. As a parent, it's the same. As a leader, it is definitely the same. The last thing you need is a whole bunch of people constantly, can I do this? Can I do? No. You want your people to be on their own 2 feet. So giving them those opportunities, creating those chances, being clear on expectations, and then having the strength to step back and just watch it happen sometimes. When I go in my theater, we always have this moment that I call it sink or swim. And I tell them, all right, the show's going on. Here's what I expect from you. Here's our goals for today. And I'm not helping you. My work is done. You've got this. You've worked for this. It's in your bodies. It's in your minds. It's there. It's going to happen. But I can't do anything else anymore. So letting those little birdies fly free and just do the things they need to do. All right, my friends, that is the end of today's episode. I hope you're able to use those tidbits, whether you're a teacher, you're selling, you're connecting with a team, you're a parent. I think these lessons I've learned are so universal, and I would love to hear from you, keeping this communication going. Check out therenaissancemama.com. I would love to hear from you. What is a lesson you've recently learned from somebody? Doesn't have to be a student, doesn't have to be your kid, doesn't have to be a team, client, anybody, any people. What's a lesson you've recently learned from somebody? Because that's it. We always are continuing to learn and grow, and we can only do that with the people around us. So why not take advantage of that, learn and grow, and share what you learn, hopefully like I did here today. Okay, friends, bye for now.
Well, that was the Courtney Riddle, the Renaissance Mama, big part of the Fired Up Network female empowerment movement. Here is episode one of two episodes me and Giancarlo did regarding wrestling. First one right now, the wrestling show. Then, in about an hour, we're going to do the On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of WWE Premier Live Event Elimination Chamber this Saturday in Montreal. Here is Giancarlo and myself, first of all, on the wrestling show, and then it will be followed by Drew Ebanks and Anthony K with NBA Jump Ball. Hey everybody, this is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Welcome to Giancarlo Lino as we do the wrestling show, and later on we'll do the On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of the Premier Live Event, not pay-per-view. Premier Live Event, not pay-per-view. I mentioned it twice, all right, Giancarlo? Extreme Rules from Montreal. You are going down to Montreal. You're going to grow your beard. You're going to try to be looking like Sami Zayn, trying to make him win the title, which maybe not, whatever. Now, let's get to the wrestling show first, okay, Giancarlo? Let's start off with some sad news to report. Jeff Jarrett's father, Jerry Jarrett, passing away at the age of 80. For those who don't know, Jerry Jarrett, of course, a great promoter, and a lot of people say great things about thoughts of Jerry Jarrett.
Yeah, was what he did for Impact or Total Nonstop Action, what it was called at the time, and starting that with Jeff Jarrett, his son. So, yeah, he did a lot, and it created a lot of jobs there for wrestlers they didn't really have anything to do after WCW folded, and WWE only picked up a certain amount of talent. It left some of those younger stars like AJ Styles, around there on the independent scene, and he created that with Jeff Jarrett, Total Nonstop Action, and we saw the kind of stars they created after. So he did a lot, and of course in his own territory, what he did for those wrestlers. So it's unfortunate that he passed away.
And of course, we'll touch on this in a couple seconds, but kudos to Jeff Jarrett. His dad dies on Tuesday and still fights on Wednesday for Dynamite. Really, I don't think none of us could probably do that. So kudos to Jeff Jarrett. Before we get to AEW, let's talk about the WWE, and specifically, let's talk about a couple things. Cody Rhodes does amazing promo with Paul Heyman a week ago. Then an amazing promo with Sami Zayn. Don't you get the feeling that this may end up being a triple threat match or something like that? Because here's what we have heard. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns headlined the second night of WrestleMania, April 2nd. But as you know, they did this with Daniel Bryan, yes, when the Yes movement was going crazy. They did this with Kofi Kingston when Kofi Kingston Mania was going on. Could we see a schmoz on Saturday causing a three-way dance? Because you saw Roman Reigns, Sami Zayn, and then you saw Sami Zayn said, "I don't know if I could see you again." So here it is, and Cody Rhodes made him basically pumped him up. Could we see Cody Rhodes helping Sami Zayn? Because Cody Rhodes is not on the card on Saturday. We'll talk about more Saturday, but what do you think? What do you want to see heading into WrestleMania? We already know we're going to see Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Do you want to see Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns at Sami Zayn, Cody Rhodes, Sami Zayn, or who cares?
Yeah, I don't think we'll see Cody Rhodes versus Sami Zayn. If anything, they would just make that a triple threat. I don't think they'll do that just because of they would have had Sami Zayn win the Royal Rumble, and they didn't have him in the match for a reason because the fans would have got behind him too much, and then the outcome would have been kind of a replicator of what happened when Batista came back and he won the Royal Rumble. So I think they'll try to avoid it as best they can, put them involved in the storyline, but if they wanted to go that route, they would have had Sammy, who deserved to win it, instead of booking the Royal Rumble around Cody Rhodes' injury and his recovery. So I think they would have done something different at the Royal Rumble if that was the case.
Well, don't forget, they got two nights, right? Could be night one, Sami Zayn, and then night two, Cody Rhodes, right? They got two nights, and technically, how could you go against Sami Zayn one of the hottest angle, the bloodline and everything like that, right? So it's, I don't know, it should be interesting. We'll talk about it later on with Elimination Chamber, but should be interesting to see what they go there. So let's get to what we had on Raw this week. The main event is a WrestleMania main event. Becky Lynch, Bianca Belair, and Bayley. Both of them lose, and first of all, Bianca Belair. I don't know if you heard this. Looks like coming out of the Extreme Elimination Chamber, it's going to be Asuka. Do we want to see Asuka against Bianca Belair?
I think it would be good. Asuka's over with the fans, changing her character back to what she had in Japan and trying to translate that over into WWE and the way they do things. I think the presentation could work. Who will be the heel, though? I don't know if they'll go both as faces, so I think we'll see Asuka maybe go back to being a little bit more of a heel like she was when during that whole pandemic era where she was a tag team and the Kabuki Warriors and all that. So I think we'll probably see something similar to that.
All right. So, anything else you want to touch on WWE before we get to AEW or NWA?
Yeah, we didn't see Trish Stratus on Raw.
Yeah, you just wait. Apparently, they had a snag in the developments there. That match maybe happening at WrestleMania. They had a snag with I'll tell you off here. All right, but it still could be now Trish and Lita teaming up against the ladies tag team champions. Now, do you want to see that, or do you want to see the six woman tag, I guess?
At this point, just put the 6-woman tag. Don't have to go women's tag titles. I don't even know what they want to do with them. I think just make it an NXT type of thing and gradually build up teams. But the main roster tag teams are pretty much non-existent at this point. They're just throwing 2 stars together and hope they stick.
Now, I gotta ask you this, okay? Last week was my birthday. By the way, today is my sister's birthday. Give my sister a shout out, Giancarlo.
Happy birthday.
That's all you're gonna say? Show some excitement. It's my sister's birthday. Sooner or later, I'm gonna get you to sing. But anyways, Giancarlo, what I always told you what I wanted for my birthday, which I still didn't get, was Seth Rollins boots. Seth Rollins boots. I wanted Seth Rollins boots for, what was that, like from Nintendo or whatever. Did you see those Seth Rollins boots?
Oh yeah, how can you miss?
All right, I think you should get me that. Okay, is it possible, Giancarlo?
Yeah, let's see. Amazon must have something dumb like that. Why not?
Why not? All right. So let's get to, first of all, before we get to AEW, let's talk about NWA. Enough said. Enough said. Pay per view. Like, what do you want me to say about the pay per view? All right. Kudos to Tom Latimer. He's now a champion with Camille, who's the ladies' champion. They are married. 2 champions in that family. Are you happy? No, who cares,
Good
right?
for them.
Who cares? Who cares? Now, I know you were really enthralled and you were part of the wedding. Is there going to be a wedding between Aaron Stevens and May Valentine?
I'm not at liberty to say. Got to hold that information. It's a secret.
Giancarlo,
Uh,
what Aaron was wearing at the pay per view, enough said, right? The blue jacket. Wasn't that your jacket? I seen you at some Fired Up Network corporate events with that jacket.
Can confirm or deny, but I just saw he put that on his Instagram story, and I think it was made by somebody local here in Toronto. So Aaron's
Yes.
got good taste over there.
Yeah, thank you to Santimo. Right? Santimo. All right. So there again, it looks like Tyrus is going to go up against Bully Ray. So Bully Ray starts off a year ago in Impact Wrestling, goes after Josh Alexander in the main event, and now he goes to NWA and he's in the event. So I assume the next one is going to be in AEW and MJF. You better be watching Bully Ray. All right, put it that way. Now AEW. what can we go with? They have a pay-per-view March 5th, so we're basically 3 weeks away from that pay-per-view. Are we going to see Bryan Danielson and MJF in an hour match? We're going to see that. But do you think Huff and Puff with MJF, because Bryan Danielson, if you put him on 2 hours, he could go. But again, with Bryan Danielson, with all the injuries and all that concussions and everything, aren't they taking a risk with Bryan Danielson also to go an hour?
I think MJF is a safe worker. I don't think they're going to have some spots there, jumping off ladders, going head first into the table. So I think they'll manage that situation fine. I think MJF, this is a good test for him, but AEW pay-per-views are long. So unless you're going to have the same amount of matches, maybe shorten the time to keep that limit, this event could go on like a little over 4.5 hours if they're doing an hour-long match. So that might be a lot to ask for fans in the arena, but if they can work around that and make the show somewhat less packed with talent, maybe choose the best storylines that are going on right now to be on the pay-per-view and maybe have a pre-show of like 2-3 matches, I think they'll be fine.
Now, Giancarlo, you have texted me and all that. You want to know where my good friend Keith Lee is. So, Giancarlo, do you want to reveal or should I reveal it?
Still coming after Swerve?
Giancarlo, listen to me. Listen good. Rampage, 7 p.m. on Friday because I have NBA All-Star Game. 7 p.m. on Friday. Watch the end. All right? Shh. What? That's all. It's not a spoiler. It's a prediction. Maybe it's a spoiler. Maybe it's a prediction. Keith Lee, back Friday. Watch it. All right? That's Adam Cole. They're teasing Adam Cole going to take on several guys and all that. It looks like they're going to make that announcement. Who's going to take on Adam Cole at the pay-per-view shortly after the pay-per-view? But some big news coming out of AEW. And Giancarlo, sit down for this because I know you're going to be thrilled with this news. You're a big CM Punk fan. CM Punk coming back to AEW.
Shocker.
Thoughts?
Yeah, shocker.
Shocker? Come on. Everybody knows that. Like the longer it goes, and they did not fire him, the longer he's going to come back. But who does he take on? Who?
The Elite.
Who is the king of the Elite?
Kenny Omega.
The Elite is Matt and Nick Jackson, Kenny Omega. So I mentioned Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole, CM Punk, and who?
Kyle O'Reilly.
There you go. And they talk about trios matches and everything like that. By the way, in WWE, before I forgot, Randy Orton, my sources have indicated, is coming back. And it looks like Randy Orton may be back by March 20th. And Giancarlo, where is Randy Orton from?
I don't know where he lives now, but don't they bill him from St. Louis?
He is in St. Louis. Guess where Raw March 20th is from? Enough said.
St. Louis?
Yeah. Enough said there, all right? So there you go with, anything else you want to touch on AEW? Because again, in the ladies division, who's a heel, who's a face? Ruby Soho wins. Is she a face or a heel?
No, I think they're leaning towards a heel turn for her.
Yeah, and so who's a face? Paige was a face, now she's a heel. Who is Jade Cargill is a face, is a heel, but she's really a face. They don't want to see Jade Cargill lose. So who's a heel and who's a face in the ladies division of AEW?
Jamie Hayter's a face.
She's not a face. She's not a face or she's a heel. Where is she? What is she? She's a champ. That's right, a champ. So there you go. All right. So anything else in the wrestling world that you want to discuss?
No, I think you covered that.
All right. So we'll be back just after the next segment with a preview of the WWE Premier Live event, Elimination Chamber, happening from Ole, Montreal. I don't know French. Do you know any word of French?
Oh, merci.
No. Merci. Thank you. All right. Thank you. Where Sami Zayn will take on Roman Reigns for the WWE Undisputed title. It's going to be a really great show. Giancarlo. Well, Giancarlo and myself will be back for the preview of the Premier Live event, Elimination Chamber, happening this Saturday from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Sami Zayn versus Roman Reigns. It will be good. And dare I say, that Sami Zayn, if he doesn't leave Montreal with the title, there may be a riot. All right, now it's time for NBA Jump Ball with Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks, and Sports Fluence himself, Anthony K. Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Pasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live. Welcome to NBA Jump Ball, Captain Canada, Drew Ebanks, and Sports Fluent Anthony K. Drew, in case you don't, if you're watching the show, you see Drew tearing up. Drew, man, it's 4 days after your team lost. They blew a lead, should have won. Jalen, how come nobody blames Jalen Hurts? They blame the referee holding. It was a holding call, but Jalen Hurts fumbled and they scored. Never mind. Again, Drew. Again, the Eagles were in the Super Bowl against the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Right? Yes. Look, no comments now. Did the Eagles win the Super Bowl? Are you still crying? Are you still crying about that? Are you crying that the Raptors did not make a significant trade?
I don't really. What Raptors do really doesn't affect me because it's. I feel the team's obviously still got talent. They still need one or two pieces. That's fine. But the Eagles is within me. It's my heart and soul. Yeah, tough way to go down for sure. Obviously, 2 or 3 plays there really determined that game, and it's sad when you see Jalen played so well. Most people would say he played better than Patrick, arguably better than the Magician. And, it's a few plays, 3 plays, that fumble. Yeah, a fumble's all right if you cannot allow a touchdown, off that fumble. And then the kickoff return for 65 yards. You look at that and you say, my goodness, how can you let happen? And then the holding penalty, you got to know the refs are looking to call something to give the Golden Boy an advantage to get that chip, that second chip. You have to know as a defender. And the funny thing is, it would have been better if they gave up the touchdown, because at least it would have given the Eagles a chance to come back down and possibly tie up the game. So very, very, very not tearing because of the game, but
yeah, tearing up, Anthony.
We should have had that one.
Mm-hmm.
That
So, Anthony, I'm going to ask you this: do you know what you have to do? You have to fight for the right to party. Chicago has never fought for that right since 1985. Philadelphia fought for the right, and
we fought for the right in 06. We just lost.
Yeah,
we just lost the fight.
And Philadelphia fought for the right, but they fumbled it away. Right. So enough talk about the Super Bowl because it's done. And I hope everybody knows, Drew, I hope you know, 3 days after my birthday, February 11th next year in Vegas, the Buffalo Bills will win the Super Bowl. Not the Chicago Bears, not the Philadelphia Eagles, not the Toronto Argonauts or Montreal Alouettes. But I digress. Let's talk NBA here. We're heading into the All-Star break. Now, Anthony, you told me prior to the show you were contacted to be one of the assistant coaches, but they refused to pay you. Is this true?
Not that they refused to pay me. They wouldn't pay me enough. They wouldn't meet my asking price, yes.
Yeah, I'm the only idiot that meets your asking price. See, Drew, I meet his asking price. All right? So
you're the mayor of the provinces of Canada, so you got that extra income.
First of all, let me correct you. I'm the president of the provinces of Canada. I'm the mayor-elect of North America, and I'll reveal it here first. Drew, I know you're excited about this. I am thinking about running for the mayor of Toronto. Do I got your vote, Drew and Anthony?
If I lived in Toronto proper and I had that vote, I would vote for you.
Listen,
I'll have to see who else is running before I can commit.
All right, Drew, go. You know what? We're going to be the end of the segment crying more. Right. So
I don't think the current mayor is going anywhere.
That's right. That's right. Also,
and shout out to the Dallas Cowboys, who their fans think will be playing your Buffalo Bills in the Super Bowl next year. Both of you delusional fans. Yes, go ahead.
By the way, the script is out. It says Cincinnati and Dallas. All right. Drew believes in scripting. All right. So Anthony, first half, basically past the first half, but unofficially first half of NBA season. What has surprised you? Which team has disappointed you? Is it the Lakers still? Drew, wake up, man. Come on. This is enthralling. He's yawning on the job.
Yeah, listen, it has to be the two that disappointed you, obviously, is the Lakers and Brooklyn. Like, Brooklyn was so bad, they blew the whole damn thing up. The three guys that were supposed to lead the team, KD's gone to Phoenix, Kyrie's gone to Dallas, and Ben Simmons is coming off the bench. Now, I never had faith in Ben Simmons, but that was supposed to be their three after the James Harden trade. And so, yeah, Brooklyn definitely, even though they're sitting at the 5 seed, they're going to probably plummet over the last 20 games of the season. But no, it's still the Lakers. When you have LeBron James, Anthony Davis on a team, they need to stay healthy. No, you know what? I lied. I changed my mind. The Golden State Warriors, the defending champs. There, I'm on the fly changing my mind. It's the Golden State Warriors are the most disappointing. Yeah, and then I would say Denver. I would say Denver's the surprise. We knew they were going to be good, but I didn't think we thought they were going to be number 1 seed good. Right? We expected Boston to be good. We expected Milwaukee to be good. I don't think anybody expected Denver to be the number 1 seed. So I'll say they're the biggest surprise in a good way.
Before I give it to Drew, Drew, get yourself a Kleenex. I'm going to ask Anthony this question, okay? Right now, give me your NBA final. Right now, as we stand, February 16th. By the way, shout out to my sister. It's her birthday, so happy birthday. Anthony's going to sing happy birthday in Greek later. But go ahead, give me your NBA finals right now, Anthony.
Okay, good. I'll need some time to learn that song because I don't know it. In Greek, at least. I'm gonna go. Man, the West is so up for grabs. There isn't a runaway team, so I'll just play it safe. I'll go Denver and Milwaukee, but watch out for the Lakers. Watch out for my Lakers.
Denver and Milwaukee. All right, Drew, same question to you here. And no, it's not going to be the Raptors, all right? Or the Argos. Go ahead.
Know. Well, surprises this season. I mean, I'm not surprised in a way you think when you say surprise, but Boston, the fact that they went through all they went through with their head coach, who was the guy who apparently was the kind of guy that got them over the hump to think they could win a title. And the fact that their coach that they have now has kept them at the same level, if not better than they were last year, without any letdowns, despite dealing with a whole bunch of guys in and out, including Marcus Smart. You have to give them props for being there and being one of the best teams in the NBA. I'm surprised the Miami Heat are so bad. They're still above 500, but I'm just surprised they're 7th in the East. And I'm also surprised that Atlanta, from a team that people were looking at to, be one of the top teams consistently in the East, they're struggling, obviously, with Trey going down. That doesn't help them. And then just seems like even with Collins, there's always some kind of controversy around that team. So very surprising there. Love what I'm seeing in Denver. As Anthony said, I never thought they'd be this good, especially with Jamal Murray kind of coming back for the first time since his major injury. Now you see he does have knee soreness. So that's going to be a factor for them in the playoffs, how much he can hold up, and hopefully he will be able to hold up. Obviously, another surprise, Dallas doing that deal to get Kyrie there. Not sure how that's going to work out. Not sure if that pairing is going to work out long-term for Dallas. But, hey, Mark Cuban's one to take a chance, and there's not a lot of free agents trying to go to Dallas. but he swung for the fences on that. So we'll see. And yeah, the Golden State Warriors, I mean, even when you look at the injuries they've had, you never thought a team that comes off such a great season last year, you know, where they basically ran roughshod over the NBA to sit at 500 right now, basically clamoring to get a play-in spot. So they're a team that they need to step it up going forward to see what they can do for the rest of the season. And I think one other disappointed team, obviously, is the Lakers. I'm not even going to talk much more about them. It was embarrassing, especially when LeBron was, eclipsing Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, to be losing a game to OKC and our boy Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who doesn't care about the ceremonies. And then you see the fallout with AD not celebrating and everybody saying, you know, what's going on. And then there are rumors of LeBron trying to shop him, or basically saying they would move him for KD. I don't know how true that is, but there just seems to be a lot of turmoil around the Lakers. Hopefully they can pick it up, because we need them to do good things for the NBA.
All right, but in Boston, their coach, they removed the interim tag. He's now the official head coach. But I want to touch to you guys. Kevin Love now worked out a deal. He's no more with Cleveland. Who takes a chance on Kevin Love?
The Lakers. LeBron loves bringing in his old teammates who know how to deal with playing in his shadow. So the Lakers just make the most sense. They could use a big who can shoot. Why not? Especially a veteran. Why not? Yeah, absolutely.
Is it the Lakers or Heat? Because the Heat are rumored to be after him or whatever. Where do you think is the best
Heat
fit?
need to blow it up. The Heat are trash. Like, you're not winning an NBA championship. You're not making it out of the first round. Just don't bother. Just save Jimmy Butler for next year. Just figure out what you're going to do with Bam. Figure out what you're going to do with Kyle Lowry. Figure out how the hell you can get out of Duncan Robinson and Tyler Hero max like that money. There's so many issues in Miami. That would be just a waste of a spot on that roster.
Can't believe they didn't move Kyle. I mean, if there's any team that could use Kyle Lowry, would have been the Lakers. Even at this stage in the way he looks. But I think he'd be rejuvenated. And yeah, I don't think Miami's going to do anything. They probably will look into it. Obviously, Pat Riley's going to look at that. But, you even look at a team like Boston. If they can do something, they'd love to bolster what they know will be a heavy competition in the East, with either Philly or Milwaukee, I think, facing them in the Eastern Finals. So I think they're a team that could look at it. Maybe a Denver could be a team that wants to bolster, or the Memphis Grizzlies looking to bring in some more veteran leadership. Because as we can see with Ja, he's got a long ways to go as far as being a mature player with all the stuff off the court that he's been dealing with and kind of perpetuating with his people. So I think they're a team that also could use him as well.
The problem with some of those, though, is that Love wants more playing time. And most of those
he's more a vet guy, come off the bench and just spot time. That's the only way I could see at this year he should be.
Yeah, but he's part of the reason Cleveland is now going to release him, I guess, is because he wants an opportunity to play more. So I'm wondering now, like, as much as I think to both of our points is that he goes to a contender and helps them as the veteran guy, or is he going to go to a bad team because he just wants to play? I don't know.
If you're the Raptors, would you take a chance? You're just saying a bad team. I'm not saying Raptors are bad.
He doesn't fit. No, I get what you're saying, but he doesn't really fit what the Raptors are doing.
And is he going to bring enough shooting? I think the Raptors, obviously, they need shooting. I don't know if he's going to bring enough shooting for them to make a stab at him.
Yeah. It doesn't fit. They're looking for like interchangeable defenders who can switch, who are long. They need obviously shooters, but at his age,
that might not be the solution anymore, Anthony. I mean,
I'm not saying it is the solution, but that's.
Yeah. I think they've got to kind of move a little bit away from that, just because they do have those bodies. They're not really able to get it done. They need shooters. They need shooters that can,
agree.
When they get the space creation, those guys can hit shots. And right now they have nobody really that can hit shots.
All right, let's continue.
And can I just quickly say, I get why he's upset, but if you had an opportunity to move day-to-day Davis for Kevin Durant, you make that move. So he can cry all he wants about it. Yeah, that's a smart basketball decision. He is the better player. He is the more consistent player. Even though he's injured, he's still the healthier option. It's ridiculous. Yeah. So
And don't you want to see? You mentioned Golden State. Don't you want to see a first round matchup, Golden State and Phoenix?
Wow, that would be fireworks right there.
You know what I'm saying? Like you're probably at the end, maybe Western Conference, Denver and Phoenix, something like that. But it's it's crazy to think of that. Now we talked about the Raptors, so I'm going to go with a couple minutes with the Raptors here. They moved nobody. They got Pirtle. Okay, whatever. Okay,
Hey, look at his first game.
yeah, 30 points. But listen, here it is.
30-9.
Yeah, 30-9. Yeah. No, and he's friends with Pascal and all that, right? But he said he'll explore in the off season and all that. If you were in the off season, I'll start off with Anthony here. Okay? There was talk of OG, there's talk of Fred VanVleet and all that. Do you think you could get more for a guy like OG in July?
Oh yeah, 100%. I think what happened this trade deadline was the players that moved. If you look at the moves, right? Just look at many 50 plus second round picks were. So there was a lot of like if you look talent for talent, most of these trades weren't even trades, right? Like you can't say, well, these three people equal that one, right? It was three lesser players for one big name player or two, whatever it was. It was all, but then you look at what Utah got for Gobert in the offseason.
Yeah.
Well, hey, that was a significant haul. So I think you get more. I think Masai did, and I said this last episode, Masai got a really good idea of what everybody in the league, where they value all of his players. So he's going to take that now. He has a couple of months to sit back and say, okay, this is where we were with these guys. They wanted 3 for, they were offering 3 first-round picks for OG. Well, I want this player and 3 or this player and 2. He can start to kind of go through that. So, yeah, I think you can get a better deal in the offseason when you're not as rushed. I feel a lot of teams made reactionary decisions. Kyrie to Dallas is a horrible move. They gave up all their defense for another ball dominant scorer. It made absolutely no sense. And the Alice, there's no D anymore. The Alice Mavericks are going to have to outscore teams. And let's be honest, how did that work in Brooklyn? Because that's what they did in Brooklyn. They got rid of Jared Allen. They got rid of Dinwiddie, LeVert. They got rid of everybody and brought it and said, oh, we're going to outscore people. Well, what happened? None of them are there anymore. So I think Dallas and Kyrie's a free agent who didn't want to go to Dallas in the first place. No. So I know we're supposed to be talking about the Raptors, but to the Raptors point now, yeah, I think they can get better deals and they're going to see because, okay, it's one game, but hey, Fred, what did we say? You got to pass the ball more. Oh, 15 assists. Achua, 10 and 11. Like they got good performances so far. You talk about Pirtle. What's Pirtle? What makes him valuable? He's an efficient scoring big man. He went 15 of 17 for that 30. Like that's insane.
That's crazy numbers. That's crazy.
Right. So now is that going to be him night in, night out? No. But you could see the chemistry. Yeah, that was You could see the chemistry though between him and Pascal. So now he's going to see, okay, if I'm building around Pascal's our guy, and Pirtle's going to be that center that we're going to build, that efficient center. And is it OG at the small forward and Scotty Barnes? Cool. Now I know what I can get for the rest of that core or whatever it is. He can start working those puzzle pieces around.
All right, so I'm going to say something that I have heard. I want your take. I'll start off with Drew here. I have heard that Karl Anthony Towns will be moved in the offseason. I have heard that they were talking to the Raptors on this trade.
Talking to the Raptors?
Hold on. And this is one of my sources, so I trust this guy with everything here. I have heard also that OG wasn't moving in this one. Fred VanVleet was, and a couple other players. Would you entertain, Drew? Would you entertain Karl Anthony Towns as a Raptor?
Oh, of course. I mean, you can get a player like that, big man who's an all-star, who's can shoot the ball like he does. I think he needs to be more focused, I think, on defensively, what he can do more than anything. If he can kind of capture some form of defensive presence, I think that would help. But you obviously have to entertain and look at it if Cat is on the trading block. Now, if you're talking Fred VanVleet, now do the Raptors have a replacement for him at point guard? That's the key. You know, if you let go of Freddie, who's going to come in and play point guard? Are you going to Flynn? Are you going, Young, Downton? What are you going to do there? But you definitely have to entertain it and look at it. Just going back to the point you were saying, guys, about the Raptors, the game that I can see right there for Fred, that's the kind of game, 10 to 20 points max, 10 to 12 to 15 assists. If he can capture that type of point guard role and feed guys and get guys to their spots, this team could have a lot of success. It's when he becomes that gunner at 6 feet tall that it takes the whole offense out of rhythm, and that's where the Raptors will not have success. So hopefully this is a transformation. I've asked for it. I've asked, why don't they ask him to be more of a pass-first point guard? If this first game is any indication with Pirtle, I think that's great. And I think with Pirtle, very good big man, has developed since. And remember, even when the Raptors let him go, it wasn't like they were saying, well, this guy's no good. It was just at the time, to fit in the roster and, obviously salary cap and all that. You look at what he's done since. He's pretty much a double-double guy. And he's just got that veteran presence inside. And it gives Koloko a chance to develop in the next couple years as well, if they manage to keep Pirtle on board.
And don't forget, they traded Pirtle for Kawhi Leonard. What it looked,
Well, no, they traded Pirtle for Danny Green. They traded DeMar DeRozan for. If you're going to look at that, it was a package. But yeah. And we've said it a couple times, but like to correct ourselves, it wasn't Pirtle's first game with the Raptors. I believe it was his second game. He played that game against. Yeah, he played with Detroit. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. As I praised VanVleet for his 15 assists, we got to also say he went 3 of 12 from the field. So it's not like he wasn't jacking up shots and missing as he's been doing all season long. He was still, now maybe he got to a point where he said, oh, damn, I'm off tonight. I'm going to stop shooting. 3 of 9 from 3 is not, 33%. It's okay. But the 3 for 12 it still should be concerning. Right, great that he was able to get the 15 assists.
Well, you even talked about the Detroit game, and he had 35 in that game. So
yeah, when he's making it, but this season he's been missing more than he's been significantly. He's had more off nights than on nights, right? But he'll hit you with one of those 35-point games, and you're like, oh, okay, he's back, but he's not back.
I think they're contesting his shots a lot too, Anthony. They know what he wants to do, and that's where he's got to be smart. That's where he's got to realize, you know what? It's not served for me to shoot these shots like this, to jack up these shots when there's a contest there. Why don't I try to penetrate and find guys? And also, if you have a big man inside, you can actually feed to in Pirtle, who not necessarily needs to score, but can give the ball back on give and goes or find cutters. That's where the Raptors can be successful and then push it out to shoot threes. But when he's jacking, as you said, I really don't like that form of Raptors basketball.
Yeah, right. Like that night, that 35, he was still below 5. Like he was 12 of 26, 6 of 13 from 3. He shot incredibly well from 3, which saved him. Right, if he shot his average from 3, that's another game we're just shaking our head, going, "What's he doing?" And even in the game, like I said, the last game where Pirtle had the 30, VanVleet, there were times where he gets it and there's a defender right on him, one dribble, step back, right, and trying to shoot a 3 over like a contested 3, 5 feet beyond the arc. I get it that's the NBA now, but there's
You're not Damian Lillard or Steph Curry.
This team, even if he was, that's not Damian Lillard does it. He drops 40 and they lose, right? Like that's not winning basketball. It's basketball. It's not winning basketball. So I love the 15 assists. I wish we could get those shots, like you said.
We got a couple minutes left, so I'm going to ask you right now, last thought on the Raptors. Right now, I think they're the 10th seed. Okay? I'll ask Anthony to start here. Where do they finish at the end of the year? Again, this is unofficially the All-Star break. It's more than halfway through, but whatever. So go ahead.
So the Raptors are lucky, and they're lucky because they're, like I've said this before, they're way too talented to be where they are. They're actually in 9th right now, in a virtual tie because they've played 2 more games, but they have the same, I think, 475 win percentage or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So they're both 14 games back of first, but they're ahead of Washington. This team should finish in the 6th seed. Now that might not be what they want because that puts them in the first round against Philly, but they should finish in the 6th seed. And the reason they should finish in the 6th seed, Atlanta is a mess. And I think they're not trending in the right direction. I believe Miami is a mess, which I said earlier, and I don't think they're going to be trending in the right direction. And Brooklyn, although a lot of the pieces that they got for KD and for Kyrie, like that team looks like a more balanced roster. I don't think they're in a position where they're going to go on a run. They're probably going to start to fall. So if you got 3 teams that are falling, it allows that Toronto team to now, if you think about it, they're 4 games back of that 6th seed, with 20 games left. I want to say they've played 59 games. Yeah. So 23, 20 something games like that. They're there. They're right there to go on a run, because partially them playing better, and the other half is those 3 teams I don't think are going to play as well down the stretch.
If they go on a run, can they get 5th? I mean, I can't see Brooklyn staying where they are.
I don't think they catch New York. I think New York's they're inconsistent, but I think New York's good enough that they hover around that 5-6 seed.
5-6, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to one other thing. The WNBA is coming to Toronto. I have a couple guys have told me that weekend they may announce a team in Canada as early as 2025. All right.
Finally.
2025. Drew Ebanks has told me personally, I don't know if I should let the cat out of the bag. Drew Ebanks, who's on point on location, wants to try out to be the mascot. Anthony, do you give Drew the job as WNBA mascot? Big up, big up, big up. That's what he'll say. Big up.
He was not saying that. Don't say that.
Really?
Drew might be the general manager. I'll give that makes a lot more sense. I'll be the head coach. He'll be the general manager. I'll be the head coach. We'll make that team champions.
All right. So, look, last thing here. It's the All-Star game here, okay? So, shooting stars and celebrity games or whatever. Drew, which one are you looking forward to the game? Are you looking forward to the 3-point competition, slam dunk competition, Adidas shoe competition? What are you looking forward to?
I mean, it's fun. I always, obviously, on Saturday night you look for the dunk off. That's going to be it. Sad that Shaden Sharp has pulled out. Not really sure what the reason is there for him to pull out, but that's one where everybody looks to see if they can kind of get back to where the dunk off has been. I think they're going to have a pretty good one, but I wish Shaden was going to be in it. Rising stars. I mean, when you look at Andrew Nemard and Benedict Mathurin, you have to love those guys, the way that they played throughout this season. I think Benedict is a kid that's going to have a super bright future in this NBA. He's just got everything, I think, more down to the mentality of him being so mature. And then Scotty Barnes, if you're a Raptor fan, obviously he's there as well. And then added another Canadian, Leonard Miller, who will be here in early March as the G League Ignite take on the Raptors 905. We will definitely be there to speak to Leonard. Definitely a guy who's going to be drafted in 2023. The fact that he's here in the Rising Stars game is a testament to him working hard. Remember, he thought more than likely that he was going to be in the draft last year and go right into the NBA. And then to have to go and play in the G League there, the G League Ignite, and reload your mind mentally to say, hey, I got to work even harder to get there. And to see him being named to this game, to the Jordan Rising Stars, is incredible. So as always, me, guys, I'm cheering for our Canadians, cheering for, of course, Scotty Barnes. I need him to step up. I think year 3 will be a different Scotty Barnes as well. And of course, the NBA All-Star game, it is the gold standard of All-Star games. Who's going to be there?
Hold on. I'm going to ask you this. Anthony,
Julie Black, national anthem.
Anthony, this is where you're going to give me some euro. All right. Look, when is it about time you're going to interview the #1 coach in Canada for the kids basketball? Go to the Paramount Food Center, interview some guy who's sports fluent, Anthony K. Even though he likes the Bears, whatever. Everybody has a problem. All right. When are you going to see Anthony? It's time you give me some hero. All right. So look. See, he's on point. All right, Drew. I want to know in front of the worldwide audience, thanks to world.com, over 300 million TVs are watching. When are you interviewing Sports Fluent?
Drew has already, I'll answer for him. Drew has already told me off camera. If my boys win the league championship this weekend, we have our semifinal and final game on Saturday and Sunday, that he will interview me. So it is up to my boys to win their game. So we'll leave it at that.
Okay, so
I do want to touch on the All-Star game before we go nuts, because the All-Star game is the All-Star game. It's going to be the All-Star game where they play like 2 minutes of actual basketball. It's still fun to watch. Don't get me wrong. I'm really excited about the skills challenge. I always love the 3-point shootout. Those things are going to be great. I was asked, sports_fluent on IG, TikTok, and Twitter. I was asked, when should I go get a snack during the All-Star weekend? And I said, go take a snack, go do your business, in your water closet, whatever you need to do during the dunk contest, because I'm going to just say the names of the participants in the dunk off. Trey Murphy III, Kenyon Martin Jr., Matt McClung, and Jericho Sims.
Chris Jericho.
Wrong Jericho. There is not. Look, I'm not saying they're bad dunkers. I'm just saying there's nobody that people are like, oh yeah, I'm gonna see that person. It's just not happening. If you indulge me for 30 seconds, what I suggest is, and I know the NBA players won't. The NBA players will even more so maybe not go into it, the superstars, when I say what I'm about to say. But the dunking is still a fan favorite. It is still exciting. It is still fun to watch for those that know how to do it. So why not bring in players, be it from the G League, be it from university, be it there's a professional dunking circuit. And if you've seen some of these guys doing 720s, what they do is phenomenal. Bring them in. Let them have the dunk off. And an NBA player wants to challenge them, great. They won't. Let them do the dunk off. Make it exciting again. And you know what? Let the host city give the winner of that dunk off a 10-day contract and let them practice with the team and try to prove themselves. Because listen, they want to hoop. They're just normally not skilled enough to do other things. Give them a 10-day contract. Now you have the prize down. They're going to be motivated. And we're going to see some phenomenal. Like I've seen 360 behind the back, like between your legs, and they're hitting these on the first try. So why do it from a guy who's like, listen, the guys in the reason the superstars don't want to do it anymore is, one, they don't want to lose. Two, they don't have time to work on their dunks. So let's make it fun again. Let's bring in these other guys and make it we bring in former players. We have a celebrity game. Hey, why not have a celebrity dunk off? Because I think it would be more fun to watch.
Well, they also should. You mentioned Coach of the Year. Why not have one or two coaches coaching on the staff of these head coaches? You learn from the greatest, right? And speak about the greatest. Michael Jordan celebrated his 60th birthday. Anthony, I'm telling you right now, you don't know this. Drew is older than Michael Jordan.
Drew is not older than Michael Jordan.
Drew is older than Michael. He looks like it, but he's older than Michael Jordan. All right, Drew.
I don't think so, buddy. Good try.
Look,
Drew's not even older than me.
He is older.
I might be older than that,
I guarantee you,
I'm not nowhere near 60 years old. That's for sure. That's a given.
I guarantee you, he's 60 years old.
Yeah, right? Jordan. Yes, he is. Jordan is. Yes.
Right.
Yeah, February 17th. Happy 60th.
Happy 60th, MJ.
Give me your favorite memory of Michael Jordan as we close this out, Drew.
Every moment. I mean, I have arguments. I have debates in my chats. LeBron's the GOAT. There's no GOAT in basketball, but there's a GOAT in football, which is Brady. There's no GOAT in basketball, but there's a GOAT in hockey, which is Gretzky, which is what I think. There's no GOAT in tennis, in basketball, but there's a GOAT in tennis, which is Federer, which I think. There's no women's GOAT or maybe GOAT overall in tennis, but there is one in basketball. it's Serena. Like, I mean, the GOAT is the GOAT. I always tell people I lived through it. He was a phenomenon. It was a feeling that nobody has ever brought in my spirit. Maybe Michael Jackson. That was the only other. And again, I think those two are the GOATs. Michael Jackson being the greatest performer ever in the history of the world, and Michael Jordan being the greatest basketball player. The emotions that he elicited when you had to run home to watch him to make sure you didn't miss it. He was a phenomenon. You have kids now who wear Jordans who've never seen Michael Jordan play live. For goodness sakes, LeBron's kids were wearing Jordans at LeBron when he passed Kareem. Now, some might say he was trolling, but to me, that's a nonsense troll. The GOAT is the GOAT. There will never be another Michael Jordan in the history of basketball.
Anthony?
On so many. Like on so many games, so many game winners. Heck, even when they lost, when I was fortunate enough to be there, that 72-10 team. I was at the game in Toronto when they lost to the Raptors. Jordan actually released that shot, that bank shot that went in before the buzzer. But anyways, different. We'll have that conversation another day. I was fortunate enough to have met Mike a couple of times, so that for personally,
I've never done that. That was I would
fondest
lose my
memory.
mind.
Let me tell you what an incredible person he is. I met him once. We spoke for 14 seconds, and the second time I met him, he remembered my name. Now, I've been told he does that with everybody, but for him, the second time, be like, "Hey, Tony, how are you? Good to see you again." Like that blew my mind as a youngster. I'll say youngster because it was a long time ago. I still wasn't young, but yeah, there's so many game winners. But honestly, my memory of him is always this, and it's similar to my Kobe memory, right? Like I saw Kobe score 81 live in person, but still, my best memory of Kobe is when he said. They said there's no I in team, and they said, yeah, but there's a me in that expletive. My thing with Jordan is there's no I in team, there's an I in win. And it's that kind of that mentality, those things. But like I said, there's so many. Like I could sit back. I just watched, I don't know if you've seen this, I think it's called A Man in His Shoes or something like that. And they go through the Nike Jordan marketing campaign with Spike Lee and Mars Blackman and those commercials. Man, those were fun. So just so many things that you can't. There's no way you can pick one thing.
He's a phenomenon, man, and it's still to this day. Look what he's making Nike. Look what kids are wearing all over the country. Someone said it to me yesterday. LeBron can't be the GOAT because nobody is robbing people over LeBron's, but they did do that over Jordan's.
That does get him in trouble, though. That does get him in trouble.
Yes.
Just think about that. That deal was struck in the mid '80s. And it's paying Jordan $130 million a month. The second highest is LeBron, $32 million.
Wow.
So we have here a comment from William George Williams, and he says, "You guys are forgetting the GOAT is Andrea Bargnani. He eats spaghetti like the best." All right. Drew Ebanks, who eats spaghetti, can you comment on Andrea Bargnani being the GOAT of primo pasta? No? All right. Drew, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you.
I've got no comments on Andrea Bargnani, and that's it. On Point Basketball on Instagram, Facebook. What are we on Twitter? The whole nine. Drew Banks on Twitter, I should say. OnPointBasketball.com. I'm going to go check out an incredible basketball rivalry tonight, guys. Humber, Sheridan, men's basketball. That is where you want to be. I think it's one of the top, if not the top basketball rivalries in the country. It's going to be a full house at Humber College. We're going up there. I'll be doing some social as well. And Joe, I know I had to bring up this to you the other day. I saw your boy Mo Pete the other day, a couple of days ago at the Open Gym 10-year anniversary event. Last minute invite.
What did he say about the president?
Said he misses the president, And shout out Mo Pete, man. He looks great. He's doing his thing, trying to get Flint back their water, trying to do his thing with his family. And I always love seeing that guy and talking to him. And he always gives me time for when we were reporting and covering him on a day-to-day basis. So shout out the man, Mo Pete, man.
Invite him on to Fired Up Network. Tell him I could make him famous.
Yeah, I told him that you can make his life change forever if he comes.
Yeah, well,
on
I
the
tried
Firedup
already.
Show.
I tried already, but Anthony took that away. See, since Anthony knows me, he's on ESPN, he is on everything. And now
Wow.
it's
Wow.
Anthony's turn because he's going to sing to my sister "Happy Birthday" in Greek. Go ahead, hero.
I'm not doing that. So you can get a hold of me at sports_fluent is our road to 100K, even though On Point Basketball doesn't follow us as they should. We're also
on what? On what?
Everything sports_fluent on TikTok,
No, you know
Twitter,
what? I
IG.
did.
Not on TikTok. I saw you on TikTok. I saw you on TikTok.
I'm having a problem. I'll be honest, on Instagram. I am following people, and it's taking me 5 or 6 times for it to take, and I am not sure what that is. But I remember following you, Anthony.
That's
definitely.
called excuses.
All right.
Watch, I'm going to do it now.
Sports_fluent on IG. It's all the same. IG, TikTok, and Twitter. It's all sports_fluent.
And you watch.
And then then check us out. All the shows are on YouTube. My other shows, other than these shows. I believe you.
Hold on, I'm clicking it now, and you'll see in 2 days or in an hour, it'll be unfollowed. Watch. Follow you right there. There you go. It's followed. We're gonna check that. Something's going on with Instagram when I try to follow.
Hey, we got TikTok. We had my co-host on Hoop Streams, the ESPN streaming hoop show yesterday. Big things happening. All the other shows, other than on Fired Up, which is where you should come and see me, but also on Players Choice YouTube, we're just hit 75,000K. So everything's growing. Everything's all thanks to the Fired Up Network.
If you're not following, what's that hashtag? We'll go ahead. Sports Fluent. What is it? Where you have 75,000? Go ahead.
That's the Players Choice show on YouTube. That's where all our shows are. Fluent and Chill, my football show. That's all there. Yeah.
You got to follow the Players Choice show on YouTube because Anthony has told me what he has big plans for that show. Big plans. He has told me. We mentioned Jericho. He's not going to be on. All right. We mentioned Sami Zayn, and you got to acknowledge Roman Reigns. Saturday, we're not watching the slam dunk competition. We're watching Elimination Chamber from Montreal. All right.
From there you go. Forget the All-Star game.
Forget the All-Star. Nobody cares about. You said Jericho, whoever's slam dunking, based on his name, he's going to win. All right. You got to figure out. Got to follow the Players Choice YouTube channel. Whoever follows the Players Choice YouTube channel and gets him over to 100,000, Drew Ebanks will get him On Point beer. All right, that's coming down the pipe.
I thought it was wine.
Ebanks. All right, and if it's not, Morris Peterson has good wine. All right, we'll talk to Morris Peterson. I'll talk to Dwayne Johnson with Terramana. You gotta get him over 100,000 because I need my heroes. All right, say something. Woo! Yeah, woo! Give me a Ric Flair's even following him. Yeah, Ric Flair's following him now. Come on, Drew Ebanks, are you following it or not? We want to know.
I'm following him, man.
I'm checking right now.
Follow the Players Choice on YouTube. YouTube, not Sports Fluent. YouTube. Do you even know how to spell YouTube?
I'll get to it.
All right.
And I told you.
All right, hold on. Let the producers getting a little bit excited. All right, so there you go. There you go.
Kevin Love, you heard it here
first. Number 6 is, though. I don't know who number 6 is, but there you go. That's Anthony, who was predicting that Kevin Love will be falling in love with LA. Thanks a lot, guys. That was another outstanding edition of NBA Jump Ball with Anthony K, Sports Fluid, and, of course, Captain Canada himself, Drew Ebanks of OnPointBasketball.com. Check them out. And now I throw to On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of WWE Premier Live event this Saturday from Montreal, Elimination Chamber. Hello, everybody. This is Joseph Hasek, and welcome to the Fired Up Network. Welcome to the flagship show of the Fired Up Network, Fired Up Live, and he's back. This time for the On the Mat Wrestling Show, a preview of the WWE Premier Live event, Elimination Chamber, happening this Saturday, February 18th, 8 p.m. from the Bell Center, formerly the Molson Center, in Montreal, Quebec, Canada. The home. Well, he's still a goalie. Carey Price. Yes, Carey Price. Giancarlo, thoughts? You like the Habs. You love the Habs. thoughts on Sami Zayn, Roman Reigns in Montreal, premier live event, not pay-per-view. This is the first premier live event ever in Montreal, not pay-per-view.
Yeah, premium live event in Montreal. I think the fans there, this is going to be like a WrestleMania with all the Canadian talent on it. So it's going to be a fun one when Sami Zayn comes out and the crowd is singing along to his entrance theme and you're going to be behind him. That's going to be an entertaining match. Hopefully it's something that's a positive ending for him, but it's going to be entertaining regardless.
All right, so we'll start off the preview here. Remember, it starts Saturday, February 18th, 8 p.m. We'll start off with a match we saw twice, but you have always wanted this match, Giancarlo. You have always wanted this match. Bobby Lashley versus Brock. You like that? Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, so they're kicking it off there with a Canadian and Brock Lesnar. He's going to be taking on Bobby Who. It's going to be a good one. I think the Hurt Business is going to play a role in this. I think this is where we see them reform and lead to something at WrestleMania. If that's the end goal here, I wouldn't expect this feud to end at Elimination Chamber unless they want to go in a different direction with Brock and maybe have him on SmackDown go after the Intercontinental title with Gunther and Sheamus and Drew and pin him there. But yeah, I see Bobby getting the win or it ending in a DQ, but I see the Hurt Business all coming out. Omos joining them, and it's going to be Shelton, Cedric, Omos, MVP, and Bobby attacking Brock.
All right, you mentioned a Canadian. For boy people don't know, Brock Lesnar lives in Saskatchewan. Yes, Giancarlo, if I even pay you, would you live in Saskatchewan?
Seems like a nice place.
All right, never mind. You won't live in
I'm sure his property is amazing. He probably has like 10 acres of land in the forest. Why not?
And nobody bothering him. All right, so another a Canadian Edge and Beth Phoenix versus Finn Balor and Rhea Ripley. I don't know if you've seen the picture going around that Edge getting a little bit of piece of tuchus from his wife. Who you like in this one?
I honestly, I think this feud needs to end. I'm not too crazy, but I think it's long overdue. Like Edge gets injured, comes back.
I'll spoil it. There's going to be one more match between Edge and probably Finn Balor. It will be at WrestleMania, and it will be another like Elimination Chamber. Hell in a Cell. Book it, bank it, go ahead with it. That's it. Go ahead. Tell me your prediction.
At that point, then I think Edge and Beth are going to get the win. But this whole feud, I think, has just been dragging on. It doesn't help when Edge goes out and then comes back as a way to restart it. Like, there's so many other wrestlers that Edge can work with. I think they did the whole Judgment Day thing. It obviously was a way to make Finn the leader. I think they rushed into that, and we see it with just the way they've been booked. So I think Edge wins and sets up that match at WrestleMania.
All right. Elimination Chamber match to determine the contender for the Raw Women's title. We got Carmella. We got Nikki Cross. We got Raquel Rodriguez. We got Liv Morgan, Natalya, and Asuka. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a surprise for a lot of people. I think they're going to see some performances in here that they're going to really show that who they're going to be pushing long term. I think Liv Morgan's going to stand out in this match. Maybe like the Royal Rumble, tease that she might win it. Alexa Bliss, I don't think will win just because she already had a feud there with Bianca Belair and probably going to lean more into the direction of SmackDown with Bray Wyatt and Uncle Howdy.
Not even in the match, Giancarlo. It's Carmella, Nikki Cross, Rodriguez, Asuka, Liv Morgan, and Natalya.
Yeah, so her being in not in the match, I think you're looking at the landscape of Raw, and I think the way that she wasn't in it when they were teasing that she was going to be in the match, and then they went with the route there with Carmella, I think it shows that what Raw is going to look like going forward. I think it's going to be Asuka and Bianca Belair for the next few months. We'll probably see Carmella in secondary feuds there, Nikki Cross, and Natalya, she's already had her chances. I don't think she's going to be in the world title match for the women's at WrestleMania. So got Asuka winning this. It's going to probably be her and Liv Morgan at the end.
All right. Well, I agree with Asuka. I agree with Edge and Beth Phoenix winning. Now, U.S. title Elimination Chamber match. It is Montez Ford, Johnny Gargano. You got Austin Theory, Seth Rollins, Damian Priest, and you got the big guy, which the Tsunami, whatever you want to call Bronson Reed, formerly of NXT, now back with WWE, could be back with NXT by next week, whatever. All right, who you got on this one? Are you A-Town down in the M-Town?
Yeah, it's gonna be A-Town down for sure. Bronson Reed, I don't know, like has potential. I just don't know what they're going for him long term. I actually wouldn't be surprised if he's in NXT and taking the title off Braun Breaker and building the brand around him. But I don't see him being the champion here. Seth Rollins, I don't see it. I see Austin Theory. I think all of them are all going to group up and take out Bronson Reed. I think he's going to be the first one eliminated. They'll probably gang up on him, and that's a way to make him look strong. But Austin Theory wins, and I think we're going to see a visitor from the You Can't See Me man, and we're going to see John Cena challenge Austin Theory for WrestleMania.
Not at the pay-per-view. Are you saying it's going to be at the pay-per-view? Look at Giancarlo going out on limb with his weekly crazy picks.
You never know. John Cena, no one can see him, so he probably already has a ticket, and he'll be ringside for all we know.
And speak about Canadian. What I hear from the grapevine, Giancarlo, I'm the president of provinces of Canada, the mayor-elect of North America, which I'm going to announce it here. I'm considering running for the mayor of Toronto. Giancarlo, do I get your vote?
I'm not a Toronto resident, so I can't
Do
vote.
I get your vote? You're not a Toronto resident, Jay. What? Woodbridge, Toronto, same thing, okay? Do I get your vote? Do I have
I'm
to
not
shake
eligible. I'm not eligible for that kind of vote.
All right, Giancarlo, you're pissing me off already. All right, so first of all, here it is. Seth Rollins will take on Jake Paul, or is it Logan Paul?
Logan Paul.
Logan Paul, whatever. Paul, some Paul guy. All right. So Seth Rollins against some Paul guy. You mentioned most likely will be a rematch again of Brock Lesnar, Bobby Lashley, and maybe Brock Lesnar and Gunther, and maybe Gunther against Sheamus against Drew McIntyre. And I'm just telling you what I hear at WrestleMania. All right, but A-Town down will come out on top in this one. Now let's get to the main event of the evening for the WWE Undisputed title. Giancarlo, are you going to acknowledge him? Roman Reigns. Not going to acknowledge him because he's a Canadian up against the Canadian hero from Montreal, Quebec, Canada, Sami Zayn. Now, the interesting thing, they said at the end of SmackDown, Paul Heyman said, Usos take the night off or whatever because they had some legal problems. But I heard they have negotiated with the government, since I'm the government, I'm the president of the province of Canada, that they will or can be there. Now, here it is. If they're there, don't you think Jimmy or is it Jay? One of them screws Sami Zayn, and Roman Reigns goes up against Cody Rhodes, and then Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn versus the Usos for the tag team titles. That, logistically, that's the plan. I have heard as late today that Sami Zayn gets help from Cody Rhodes and wins and leaves Montreal the champion only to be stripped of the title because he wins. But which title does he win? That's how they're going to split up the titles. Because what they desperately, for WrestleMania, I have heard, or shortly after, they want a title for Raw, they want a title for SmackDown. I have heard as late as today that Sami Zayn wins from help from Cody Rhodes, from help from Kevin Owens. And that's the way Paul Heyman, the wise man, says, well, which title did he win? Is it a WWE title or his undisputed title? The belt one of the belts should be, because Cody Rhodes always said he is fighting for the titles. Titles. Well, is he fighting for the titles or is he fighting for one title? That's how they're going to split the titles. That's what I have heard. And that plan could change. Could change 2 minutes from now, or they could go ahead with the plan there. So, what do you think of that, Giancarlo?
Yeah, I think they'll probably just do the different approach. Sami Zayn, I think it would be a nice story if he won, but I think this was set up for Jey Uso to come out and super kick Sami Zayn after they looked like they were defending each other type of thing. I think Jey Uso just super kicks him. Roman gets the pin, and that's how they put Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens for the tag titles and make people forget that he should be going after Roman at WrestleMania.
Well, it should be interesting to see. Of course, WWE Premier Live event this Saturday, February 18th, 8 p.m. from Montreal, Quebec, Canada. Sami Zayn that comes in the hero. And can they afford Sami Zayn losing in Montreal? Because that will be like a war. And I don't have to tell you, WrestleMania, the night after WrestleMania 6, Hogan comes out and everything like that, and they went crazy. So should be interesting to see what happens there. All right, Giancarlo, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. Don't forget, starting from tomorrow, the soccer show, world famous soccer show, will begin at noon. Go ahead, Giancarlo.
Yeah, you can follow me on Twitter, John_411, Instagram, Giancarlo_Lino, and check out my articles on firedupnetwork.ca.
All right, enjoy the Premier Live event. Giancarlo says he's acknowledging Roman Reigns will win, or the match will keep the title. Acknowledge him. Put your finger up. Wrong finger. That was myself and Giancarlo Lino on the On the Mat Wrestling Show, previewing the WWE Premier Live event happening this Saturday from the Bell Center in Montreal. Elimination Chamber, the final road Premier Live event till WrestleMania. Of course, WrestleMania 39 happens at SoFi Stadium Saturday, April 1st, Sunday, April 2nd. 39 years of WrestleMania. Unbelievable. 39 years of WrestleMania, and they just keep getting stronger and stronger and stronger. If you ask me, next year, WrestleMania 40, of course, happening in Philadelphia. Yes, in Philadelphia. As you can see, the scrolling, and we're going to be joined by Toronto 6 and Premier Hockey Federation player Taylor Woods and the media relations director for the Toronto 6, Justin Levine, here in a couple seconds, and then we'll close out the show with the grizzled young veteran Marty Roberts talking a little baseball as pitchers and catchers reported today. Also in baseball, Tim McCarver, 81 years old, passing away, a great broadcaster. 81 years old. Apparently, he died a couple of days ago. They're just announcing it today. So that's, again, some sad news to report in the sporting world. Again, Tim McCarver, 81 years old, passing away. Now, before Taylor and Justin come in, let's get to some scores in sports here. Actually, Taylor's coming in. Montreal and Carolina tied up at 2 at the end of 2. Winnipeg and Columbus 1-1 at the end of 2. Florida leads Washington 4-1 at the end of 2. By the way, condolences go out to Alexander Ovechkin's family. His dad, he passed away this week. He was 71 years old. Ovechkin went back to Russia. And here we're going to be joined by Taylor Woods right now. So there she is. Taylor, first of all, how you doing in preparation for this weekend's game against Connecticut Whale? Are you scared of whales?
No.
No, see, you're going to beat, again, come on. Taylor, I'm a little bit disappointed. I said you guys are going to win last time, and you're going to score a goal. All right.
That was against Buffalo, and actually, okay, so I do have a story. So I pretty much scored. Like, I couldn't get any closer than that. I'm coming in,
No,
and
you
it's a
score
great
a
backdoor
goal
pass.
pretty much.
It's two inches from the goal line, and I'm going and I'm whacking at it. I think I give it like 2-3 whacks, and it's going in, and then like I think I hit it with my stick, and it goes out, and it hits the back of the goalie, and it was about to trickle in, and then it just got covered. I'm like, as if it's like maybe I was just trying to like, okay, like is Justin gonna shave his head? Is Joe gonna get his jersey? Like I just couldn't decide. So I just that's
Wait
the
a minute,
towing
wait a minute.
costs
If
right
you have
there.
if you have the other, Joe gets his jersey, Marty Roberts gets his jersey, and Justin, who's in the dark, doesn't matter. Shaved his head. Look, he's always in the dark. I think the ball will suit him, right?
No, it really won't. Think so. No.
All right. Well, we brought you on here this week against Connecticut and all that, and you're heading to the Isabel Cup, where Justin, you want to make the honors. Taylor, I'm clearing my throat. Why? Can you tell everybody why? When the president of the provinces of Canada speaks, when the mayor-elect of North America speaks, and I told you, I'm breaking the news here, I'm seriously considering running for the mayor of Toronto. Justin, I know you live in Thornhill, but who cares? Thornhill, Toronto, whatever. Do I get your vote?
I think I need a little more convincing.
Convincing? I do better than John Tory any day. There's your convincing.
Well, a lot of people liked him. Even through this, there are people who still want him on. But anyways, that's more here or there. So
I'm not going to go into political, but a lot of people liked him, and he did a boo boo. I won't do that boo boo. I will not do that boo boo. That boo boo is a major boo boo. And if you don't know what boo boo is, Google it. What he did, Taylor. Since Justin, honestly, I don't even think you're of age to vote. So but
that would be false.
But Taylor, do I get your vote? I know you're all the way from Hamilton and Winnipeg and all that, but come on. I'm seriously considering running for the mayor of Toronto.
Sure, send me a ballot and I'll ship it to wherever it needs to go.
Can you stuff that ballot? Like, I need more votes. Like, I need you to. All right, so let's get to the Connecticut Whale. How is the opposition looking this year? As we're all going to pick Toronto to win. And here I'm going on here. See, Justin already clouded me up here, but look, I go into my crystal ball. Taylor Woods will score her first goal this weekend. If I'm wrong, Justin Levine will shave his head and get new glasses.
You know what? I need those anyway, so I'd be okay with that one.
Go ahead, Taylor. Tell us about the opposition this week.
Yeah, like the Whale have a lot of skill. They know how to pass. They know how to stick handle. Sorry, and they're very just talented. So they always bring a good game against us.
So what Taylor's saying here, Justin, in case you don't know, is Connecticut is known for choking up when they play good teams. They're a good team, but they're known for choking up. And, they haven't been relevant, the Whale, since the Hartford Whalers and those green jerseys. I know, Justin, Hartford, Montreal, big rivalry in the Adams division, big rivalry. And don't we want the Hartford Whaler jerseys? Hell, why aren't they going to Hartford anyways from Arizona where they have 5,000 people? At least 5,000 pay the taxes in Connecticut.
You know what? I'll give the Hartford Whalers some credit. Their logo and everything on jerseys, on hats, it was very, very nice. But anyways, that's nor here or there. The Whale are a great hockey team that we're going into face this weekend. Like you said, last year they were a very good team. They choked to Boston in the final. This year, is their habit choking? I don't know. They've been a very good team. So I think we're all hoping for the best, but preparing for at least a series split. But look, it's stacked team against stacked team. Anything can happen.
All right, as I mentioned a couple minutes ago, we got Taylor back. She was just excited because I'm running for the mayor of Toronto. I'm just excited, all right? But as we just mentioned a couple minutes ago, the Isabel Cup. Boston, Toronto are already locked into positions. They need to win to go into the final. But the Isabel Cup, tell Taylor where they're going to be played in Toronto.
Yeah, so the announcement went out first thing this morning. The Isabel Cup will be held in two portions. Portion one in Boston at Bentley Arena, home of the Falcons NCAA Division I program, and the other half will be held here in Toronto, downtown at the Mattamy Athletic Center, home to the TMU Bold men's hockey and women's hockey program. So some really exciting stuff, and it's a venue obviously that we're now familiar with, having held the PHF All-Star Weekend here. It's an exciting step. And for me, I think one of the main reasons is because I think the chances of drawing a crowd in the city are much better. And with that, you're going out to so many, different audiences, from students to adults who are interested to players, friends, and families who live nearby. I think that the selling points can be listed. And I think this is a really exciting step for the PHF. And the semifinal will be held in a series. And then that will lead up to the culmination of a one-game Isabel Cup final, which will be held at an alternate destination yet to be announced.
You want me to announce the destination? Justin, are you awake? Do you want me to announce it?
I'm awake. I was wondering if that was a general question to both of us. We don't even know yet. Look, there are...
Wait a minute. Hold on. Taylor. Can you tell this guy who I am? Again, he says we don't even know yet. Listen, Justin, if I'm wrong, I'll send you to a trip to either... You get two places, all right? A trip to Seattle or a trip to California. You got two places, all right? If I'm wrong. But I will not spoil the announcement, because I know you're going to call me and like, you shouldn't have said that and blah, blah, blah. All right? If I'm wrong, I'll tell you off air. I'll send you a trip to either California or Seattle. All right, Justin?
Look, people already have their assumptions as to where they think it might be. And would I be lying
Taylor,
if I
where
said
do you think it's going to be?
Where do I think it's going to be?
Yeah.
There's been a lot of women's hockey played over even the last 6 months or so. So wherever, even like Hockey USA, Hockey Canada, PWHPA, even previous PHF sites, I think any one of those would be up for grabs, because they've shown the best interaction with growing the game.
This is very good stick handling for a defenseman. All right? That's a very good stick handling for a defenseman. All right? Justin, why? You already said you missed the boat here, just saying, yes, Mattamy Athletic Center, but formerly Maple Leaf Gardens. I know you're from Montreal. You would have said something from the Forum, but Maple Leaf Gardens, formerly Maple Leaf Gardens. Why isn't the final already announced, being played at Maple Leaf Gardens, being played by the Toronto Six, whoever they play, and I get my championship ring, and I get my sweater from Taylor, who should get choked up and crying. I can't wait to see Taylor on the ice. I'm going to bring the champagne bottles. We're going to celebrate. You know what Kansas City says? You know what Travis Kelce says? You got to fight for your right to party. Right, Taylor?
No, for sure.
See? She wants to party, but she's got to fight for the right to party. Go ahead, Justin.
No. I got my right to party, so.
Go ahead, Justin. All right.
I was just going to say, look, it would be great to have that celebration on home soil. I just, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the neutral site is not going to be us. Look, I know as much as everyone else does, so we're all just gonna have to sit back and see how the league plans to pull it off. But I think whatever they do, it's gonna be great.
All right, Taylor, you want to see the president work? Justin's a very hard nut to crack. All right, but here's the line of questioning. It will get me somewhere. Justin, you say it's not going to happen in the home soil, correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Will it happen in Canada?
Probably not, no.
So, Taylor, we have just established that the Isabel Cup will not be happening in Canada. What?
Yeah, I think that's a little bit obvious. I think that's a little bit obvious.
All right. You want me to get more? All right. Will it happen, Justin? Will it happen in one of the American cities that the PHF already plays in?
I don't think so. I really don't.
Aha! Aha! Can I get an aha here?
Look,
No.
it could very easily be in Minnesota. Just putting it out there.
No, it's not going to be in Minnesota. I don't like Minnesota in March.
Well, they are a hockey city, so I don't really think.
I don't like Minnesota in March. If the president talks, they listen. It's not going to happen in Minnesota. And it's not going to happen in Connecticut either. And in Buffalo either. There you go. So that leaves. I'll just say this. Look west. That's it. All right. So Taylor, let's get to a little bit National Hockey League, and then we'll close it out here. Okay. I know you miss Kipling, and maybe Kipling in his big head will be coming and everything like that. But National Hockey League, Winnipeg. All right. Winnipeg. We're about 3 weeks away from the trade deadline. Winnipeg up and down, up and down. That's your team, Winnipeg. What do they have to do to really compete for the Stanley Cup this year?
If they do want to go all in, like the coaching's been there. I think if they sort of add like another like just top six forward, I sort of solidify like they could go top six, sort of mid six. I think that'd be really great to have all fires and cylinders and stuff. But and also just another defenseman. Their defenseman has been not too bad, especially the pieces that they picked up. They're very rugged. They're very trustworthy. But you know what? Like, you just never know. They might happen like what the Leafs gone through this year with their defense, or in years past, right? They've just had injuries that sort of stopped their sort of big spew of playoff pushes or playoff contender pushes like they have. So those are like, even if they get one of the two there, I think they'd be good. But if they go for two, I think they're going to be at least in the finals or like the top four.
All right, Taylor, and I'm going to be serious, not because we're friends, not because you're on here, but I'm going to ask you, you're in your mid-20s. Do you think, let's say by 2030, there'll be some ladies playing in National Hockey League, or do you think by 2040?
I don't think there will be any woman playing in the National Hockey League. I think they'll just, have their own league and dominate there.
All right, Justin, same question to you. Because we see referees as ladies referees in NFL. We see ladies coaches, ladies GMs. Isn't the next step to put a lady into the National Hockey League?
I see where you're going with it, but I'm with Taylor on this one. It's going to be a female league for, whatever that looks like in, 5, 10, 15 years, whatever that looks like. I don't think the NHL is going to turn its head on this one and all of a sudden say, okay, we're going to change the tides and we're going to do things that have never been done before and roll with it. The NHL is not known to do that. Gary Bettman has been very steadfast in his wording for the last 5 years, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
All right, I know it's not hockey, but since I have Taylor, a professional athlete, a lady professional athlete here, and maybe you have heard of what's going on with the Canadian soccer here, like what are your thoughts there? Because you guys are fighting with, PHF and PWHPA and all that for corporate, and then you get the rug pulled out of you when, Toronto Furies and the CWHL and all that, much like Team Canada Soccer, they wanted to go on strike. They went on strike for a day, and then they got told what to do. Yeah, and you're smiling because I know you want to say it. We haven't talked about this off air or anything like that. So I want your thoughts here. Justin and me will be quiet. Justin needs his haircut. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's just been sad even over like the pandemic because like it's all about finances, right? And money. And a lot of even a little bit before, a little bit after, but like a lot of different sports have blown up because or they've seen just different issues with their management and how sort of athletes are just like, hey, like this is unfair. Okay, we're doing all this and this is what it costs. And I agree. and now women's soccer. Women's soccer has been fighting. The U.S. has been fighting for a long time. The Canadian has been fighting, and I'm hoping that they sort of follow suit the same as the U.S. But yeah, it was just sort of nasty how that lawsuit came out. It's like, how can you evaluate that when you're saying this is your like this is what we value you at, but when we sue you, this is the value. It just doesn't add up.
Justin, have any thoughts?
I think it's really sad that they're literally being forced and told what to do when they are trying to do what's best for their sport, and make the ends that need to meet to be financially supported. Look, at the end of the day, it's not all that much different from what we're doing here. We're trying to look. I don't like the word fight, but at the end of the day, it's all about gender equity and making sure that everyone is getting paid adequately to be professional athletes in their respective sport or other forms, whether that be off the pitch, ice, or whatever. It's sad, and I hope that the Players Association is fighting for them and with them to get them what they deserve from Canada Soccer, so they can do what they do and feel loved, feel supported, and feel as professional as athletes as they are.
I'm going to touch more on this soccer show again, and now every Friday off at noon, and for that matter, we're a big proponent here of ladies and men and all with femme and everything like that. But I'm going to say this: if it wasn't for the Canadian soccer ladies, they would not have success. Men World Cup for the first time in 36 years. The men captured the World Cup, but the ladies, Canadian soccer ladies, won the gold, won tournaments that made, wow, the ladies can do it. Why can't we do it? So if it isn't for the ladies, men's soccer, and for that matter, we wouldn't get the World Cup in 2026. And I'm telling you right now, and maybe Taylor, you could start this off. Hockey, soccer, all ladies combined should band together. Your Team Canada, you're Canadian, play soccer, tennis, hockey, anybody should band together and say, look, everybody knows in the Olympics, yeah, we all watch Canada hockey, men and all that. But what's the greatest is when the ladies play hockey against the U.S. That's some of the best hockey period in the world. Watch Canada, U.S. in soccer, best ladies soccer period in the world. Give them a break and give them equal pay, because look, what is, and I'm going to say this, it doesn't have nothing to do with sports, but I'm going to say it sincerely. Taylor, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did a little bit.
Right. You said a little bit. Did you watch the halftime show?
I did.
All right. Justin, I'm not going to say, did you watch the Super Bowl?
I saw the latter end of it.
All right. Did you watch the halftime show?
I did not know.
Okay, well, see, this is his problem. But 118 million. Let me rephrase that. 118.7 million people watched the halftime show. And Taylor, tell everybody who was singing at the halftime show.
Rihanna, she crushed it, and she was pregnant too. She just slayed it. It was awesome. So yeah, Justin, you missed it, but you know what? Like, there's a ton of Rihanna playlists and everything. You can just play that for the whole day, and it'll be a different song.
Yeah,
She's
I heard
fantastic.
that. I heard it was spectacular, and I'm really bothered that I missed it.
I did not watch it because he was holding my umbrella. All right, I was shining like a diamond. All right, Taylor, come on. We were work. Never see.
No.
This is called great soliloquies there and all. But again, Rihanna is a lady watching 118.7 million people watching what? A halftime show of a football game. There happened to be a football game, but a halftime show, a singer playing it. Come on. When are you going to realize everybody, corporate Canada, corporate America, corporate North America, the ladies have as much pull as the guys. I mentioned tennis. Justin, Roger Federer, or Serena Williams. Both of them are equal. But who do you think people will want to watch more?
Look, the sad thing is that even though men's and women's tennis are the only sport, and I mean literally the only sport that are on the same level of equity, people are still going to go to Federer in an instant. So that's the wrong answer. The answer should be Serena Williams because, I mean, look, she literally was the GOAT, and if she does make a return, which she might, look, that's aside from the point, but look, it's going to come. Question is, when is it going to come? How much more do people like Taylor and other, really, really talented female athletes like her, how much longer are we going to hold out and wait until adequate pay starts to be made and gender equity is recognized?
Well, very good, very well said there. And hopefully we don't have to wait a long time because, and I'm going to say this, the PHF is getting there. The PHF is finally making some strides, and people like you see, and one thing, and again, we joke around here, but Taylor works hard. Taylor bench presses cars. All right, but put it that way. You know what I mean. All right, bench presses cars, and that's her secondary job. She has another job. Try to have 2-3 jobs and bench press a car and play against the boards and stuff like that. When are people going to see what the ladies sacrifice? What the ladies sacrifice there also. People, it's when you see guys, and here I'm going to say this, tomorrow is Michael Jordan's 60th birthday. Okay? He has not played basketball in 25 years. He made $335 million. All right? Tom Brady, in his active playing career, maybe he comes back or whatever, made $260 million. He signed a 10-year deal with Fox for $335 million. You ever think, Taylor, you would sign a deal for $35 on TV, let alone $335 million? So
yeah, I couldn't say yes fast enough there. Like if that was offered to me, like
Justin, give her $35 and she'll have a show on the Fired Up Network or Fam Network every day of the week for 30. Justin, come on.
Look, as women's sports in general, we are getting there. We're gonna get there. I think that it's gonna very quickly come to a head in the next few years. And again, what the PHF owners, for instance, have done here, and what they're going to continue to put in over the next 3 years. Never mind what's probably coming on top of that afterwards. We're gonna get there a lot quicker now, given the sudden. I don't know. Look, women's sports is getting recognition from the public. Now it's about the corporate support, and I do think we're going to see it come a lot faster than perhaps even it would have, or at least the perception of it would have a couple of years ago. So we're moving in the right direction, and hopefully it's not a lot longer that we're waiting for equity to really become a real thing because of people like the Boynton family, Miles Arnone, Tobin Kelly, some of the investors in the PHF who are working to make that happen.
Hey, Taylor, I just had a thought. I don't care if you scored during the regular season. What about scoring the Isabel Cup winning goal? Justin, she's going to score. I just had a thought. The Isabel Cup winning goal, and we're going to party like 1999 on the ice. Shappy, Justin can't drink it, so I'll drink it with Marty Roberts, everything like that. How about that? How about you scoring the goal to win the cup? How would that feel? I know you thought about it since when you were born and going there, but imagine you don't score anything during the year and you score the game-winning goal to capture the cup, a Toronto Hockey Cup.
Yeah, it's that's saving all the power and strength, and just the energy in that is just it's speechless.
You're gonna be.
She's gonna get at least one tally before the year ends. Don't worry, it's gonna.
No. It doesn't matter if she scores or not. It matters if she wins the Isabel Cup. Get it through your mind, Justin. You get an extra $1 in your contract. An extra $1. No comment.
I never know what to say around you, so you know what? I'm just gonna leave it there. We're just gonna leave it there.
All right. So, Taylor, I don't know what you're doing on Friday, March 3rd, but I'm going to throw it out there, okay? Friday, March 3rd is trade deadline, right? Trade deadline day. Justin has a bunch of these rumors that I want you to, which one is true, which one is going to happen, which time. Would you like to be our analyst for Justin and I are going to go from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on March 3rd, trade deadline. Remember, Justin, we did it last year. I brought a cornucopia of people. Would you like to be our insider for the Fired Up Network?
See, I wish this was Saturday because Friday I'm actually competing at the Arnold.
Listen, I'm going to tell Arnold he can move his car. You're going to be on here. No. You're Friday. You're competing at the Arnold. Tell us about it as we close it out.
So yeah, last year I went to the Arnold. I got third, so it is mine to win this year. It is in Columbus, Ohio. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the strongman portion of it. So on Friday, there's 4 events. First one is like a farmer's carry. Second is a Viking press. Third is a hand over hand, so like just pulling some weight. And then the fourth one is an odd object load, including a fire hydrant, cylinder block, 240-pound sandbag, and just random stuff that you have to load. So, and then Sunday is the final day. There's just 4 athletes and then 3 events, and they crown a champion.
Well, hopefully Taylor Woods will be the Arnold. What do you get if you win the Arnold? You get money, you get a gold medal, you get what?
This one is no money, unfortunately. You get bragging rights and a bunch of sponsors that come with it.
Well, sponsors is good. Listen, you got to win, so you could put some sponsors for Fired Up, right? I'll create a Fired Up whatever, shirt or pants or whatever. Justin, work on that, all right? And maybe we could talk to the same people, Athletica who promotes or who does your jerseys, and maybe you could have something there. Maybe
Got a stitch.
Yeah, that's right.
Just right on the shoulder, right on the bicep.
And you're telling me a farmer? What did you just say? A farmer's what?
Farmer carry. So it's just like like when you carry like groceries
or what?
No, it's like it's pretty much like if you're carrying your groceries, it's just like a lower load. But I have to carry 194 pounds worth of groceries.
And how long?
40 feet and then 40 feet back.
That's easy. I do that every day. Justin, don't you do that?
Okay.
Justin can't carry his grocery of milk, let alone
that would be one heck of a way to kind of lead into your final regular season tilting.
Here's the last question.
Oh yeah, it gets you going.
Here's the last question. When you do the Arnold and all that, right? And then like Justin said, what a way to your final regular season game and all that. Do you feel like physically stronger now that you'll throw more checks, or are you more tired, shorter shifts when you're playing?
No, I feel like in the zone. Like I have to lift a 220-pound fire hydrant like 44 feet. So 44 inches like up. It's like, okay, so that's pretty much like it's a full body movement, and it's okay. Like now you get in front of the net, you get in the corners, you get like just that bigger shot, right? It's just, again, it's mentally, physically, like it's a positive.
All right. Wow. All right. So Justin, close it out by telling everybody how they could get a hold of you and Toronto Six tickets, and tell us what's coming up for the Toronto Six in the next couple weeks.
Yeah. So let's start there. Next couple weeks, obviously the T6 are out to Connecticut first thing tomorrow morning for the weekend against the Whales. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Hopefully we rack up 6 points, and that would, I believe, officially secure a playoff spot. Though, I mean, we're in second, so odds are looking good as it is, which is great. Then next we're off to Minnesota the following weekend. Then we've got that one break in between to start March, and then we're home to face the Boston Pride And that wraps up regular season play. Tickets can be purchased at toronto6ix.universitytickets.com. And you can reach the Toronto 6 on Twitter at the.toronto6 and Instagram and Facebook at the Toronto 6, as well as myself. I can be reached at any of those handles, as well as Justin Levine HBS.
All right, so Justin, take a break. Let Taylor say a couple words. Taylor, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. And I'm going to predict that Taylor Woods is going to score this weekend. If she doesn't matter. She'll score for the Isabel Cup.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm on Twitter at Tay_storm or on Instagram at TWoodsTraining.
All right, that's simply one of the best from the PHF and from the Toronto 6, Taylor Woods. Any last comments, Taylor? I know you miss Marty. I don't know where Marty is, trying to get his Kipling hood on or whatever. He's supposed to be on here. Marty, we're calling you out here. Do you want to celebrate with Taylor once they win the Isabel Cup? Justin, can you provide the wine and champagne for Marty and all that? You know, he's a little bit tipsy there, even at the best of times.
No, I think the league's gonna have to do that once we win. So let's just let's just keep rolling. It's what we do best. We're a winning
Justin
team.
Can't contain his excitement. Did you see that? He cannot contain his excitement when Taylor and the Toronto 6 win the Isabel Cup. All right, Taylor, as maybe we'll have you on next week, but good luck with the series this weekend. Bring home 6 points, and then Justin doesn't have to shave his head. So there's the motivation for you. You want to see Justin bald? Lose. If you don't want to see him bald, keep on winning all the way. Look, see, he's scared now. He's scared.
Yeah.
All right, Taylor. Any last comments?
No, I'm just ready for the weekend. So it's gonna be a fun series.
All right. Well, thanks a lot for joining us, Justin. Any last comments for you?
Let's go. Let's get them. Let's get those points and get out of Connecticut with a win. 2.
Who wants to stay in Connecticut, anyways? All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks. That's Justin Levine and Taylor Woods. Remember, they got a big weekend in Connecticut for the Toronto 6. And go support the Toronto 6, playing out of Canlan Ice Sports. And don't forget, Justin announced that the Isabel Cup playoffs will be played at the Manatee Athletic Center in downtown in Yonge College, former Maple Leaf Gardens. And then the Isabel Cup will have one game showdown between the winners of the 2 series here. As I mentioned before, we were supposed to be joined by Marty Roberts here because pitchers and catchers reported, and Marty Roberts chimes in right now. It's like he's watching the show and sees that doesn't want to do anything with Justin, so he joins us right now here. Marty, how you doing? Oh, look at that! Look at Marty. Well, hold on, Marty. How you doing? First of all,
good, Joseph, and you?
I'm doing fantabulous. Not fabulous.
Fantabulous.
Fabulous. Now,
well,
Marty,
I'm happy that you got a haircut because the last time that we were doing this, you look like Sasquatch.
Yeah, well, whoever Sasquatch is. All right. So now, Marty, let me ask you something. Okay, today is my sister's birthday. In honor of my sister, I told her you got to watch the show because Marty Roberts, one time only, performs "Happy Birthday." All right. So you have a capacity crowd. Oh, look who's there. William George is in the background there. Look at the long hair that he has now. All right. So perform "Happy Birthday" before we start this around the major.
I don't sing, Joseph. I will say happy birthday though to your sister. What is she? 27 now?
Add 20 years. All right. So that's.
Well, she looks 27. You look 77.
I look good, eh?
You look 77, Joseph.
Marty, here, I'm going to ask you this. February 8th was our birthday. What did you do for our birthday?
Well, I didn't do anything on the day of. I did go out a couple days later to the keg. Family took me out there, and I'm waiting for a gift to arrive, but I can't say what it is.
I know what it is, Marty. Do you want me to tell the world what it is? It is not money.
No, it's not money.
It's not a haircut.
I don't need a haircut.
No.
I need hair plugs. I don't need haircut.
So Marty, I got you on here because you're the king of baseball here, the grizzled young veteran, not the rookie sensation. Some people still call you the rookie sensation. You elevated to the grizzled young veteran. I don't know what position after the grizzled young veteran it will be, but I'll make it up. All right. Today, pitchers and catchers reported, and yesterday here in Toronto was 15 degrees. Today minus 15, but whatever. All right, pitchers and catchers, you're a former pitcher. Take us through going to the facility, and it's the first day. Do you even throw even harder, or you're here, you're chumming around with your teammates and your friends?
Well, they've all been getting ready for the last month or so anyway. So getting to camp is all about getting the juices flowing, getting yourself ready now for the start of the season. So pitchers and catchers report today. I'm sure they everyone on through a little bit on the side. Some will be a little bit further along than others, depending on how much work they put in during the off season. And it's a these guys look forward to it. And as you saw, players are showing up that don't have to report yet either. Bichette, Vlad, Springer, Kiermaier, all those guys, Chapman were all there taking BP over the last few days. So they all get there. Usually the guys get there and do it. The only ones that don't come early are the ones that have visa issues that take a little bit more time to get there, or contract squabble. But it means there's only a month and a half until maybe month and 2 weeks till season starts.
Month and 2 weeks, meaning a month and a half also.
Well, it depends on what month it is.
All right. So Marty, as you can see in the background, this was a Rogers Center before all the renovations and all that.
Yep.
It seems like every week or two they keep giving us glimpses of the new. It looks like the fences are new color and everything like that. I don't know.
Higher. They're jigging in some spots. It's going to be interesting to see. I know Springer said it's going to take some time to get used to because, at one spot it's going to be closer and then it'll jot out a little bit more. Yeah. Fences are higher, so it's going to take some time to get used to. We haven't seen what it actually looks like yet. But if you take for example, just look at how they play in Houston. Look at that fence out there. How it's normal, then it goes back some and it comes out, and then there's a hill in center field. So it's going to be interesting to see how these guys transition to a new outfield wall fence. Going to be higher. It's going to be nice to see once it's all done. I'm going to guess we might not see it until they actually play.
First week of April, probably. Yeah. No, they'll give you a couple of days before Blue Jays come back and everything like that. But they'll give you a chance to look at it and everything like that. But the Blue Jays have a new. What am I going to say? A new executive, good friends of Shapiro and Atkins.
Special assistant. He'll be to Shapiro and Atkins. Victor Martinez, played Cleveland, Detroit. He'll help them out. I guess they got along. Shapiro and him are really close, so they brought him on to see what he can do, how he can help with this organization. It's funny. They brought in Mattingly, they brought in Martinez. They're bringing in some old school guys that are coming in to try and get this team over the bump and get to the World Series. Right? They've made a ton of changes. Like this might be the best free agent time I've remembered over the last 7, 8, 9 years that the Jays have done here. Like they've made some quality moves, and they made another big signing, and they've done that over the last 2 or 3 years, right? Gossman, Springer, Ryu, then go and sign Bassett this year. So they're not against spending the money, but this is the first time they're going to have to pay some luxury tax.
And just a side note, and Padres against spending. They signed Cole Hamels on a minor league deal. If he has a little bit stuff left, he could be a good addition. But Padres, much like the Mets, are spending.
Yeah, I guess San Diego looks at that they're all in when gotten Soto last year. So they have to. Soto, I think, is a free agent at the end of this year, I believe he is. So they have to make a run at, because what if Soto doesn't re-sign with them? So then they've lost all those players. Soto's gone, and they don't have. So they're going to make a run. I think Waka signed there as well. Darvish re-signed again for an extension. Their rotation is going to be pretty solid again in San Diego. Tatis will be back at some point as well. We'll see how he goes. Bogarts is there. They have some nice people, and I read that they're trying to extend Machado as well.
Yeah, and don't forget, baseball's even earlier because of the World Baseball Classic.
Yep.
Marty, are you excited for the WBC?
Oh, you know what? I'll watch it. I'm not overly excited by it, to tell you the truth. I went to it years ago when they had it at I guess it would have been the Sky Dome at that time, and I went and watched Canada. I think they played the US. I can't remember. Anyways, I went there. It's nice because you get to watch baseball. It's not the same as when you watch other like World Cup type things.
No.
It just doesn't have that same feel for me. It's nice we get to watch it, but I think Team Canada is going to be a little bit tough. Let's just say it that way. They're going to be in tough against some of these teams that they're going to face. Like I think there's 3 players on Team Canada actually played for the Toronto Mets, where I helped out all those years. You got Andrew Yerzy, Denzel Clark, and Bratt will be suiting up for them, and then a couple other Ontario kids as well, as in Brash and Bo Naylor will be there. Quantrill. They got a young team with a mixture of some older guys, but I think they're going to be in a little bit of trouble. Yes, Freeman's going to be there and O'Neill, but I think they're still going to be in a bit of a tough situation there.
What about the Dominican or Cuba and U.S., of course? But are those 3 teams, much like, we talk about in the Olympics for hockey and especially for ladies hockey coming off with Taylor and Justin here, but is it much like 3, 4, 5 teams and that's it?
You know what? There is. It's a little bit different though when you look at baseball, because if you have your main guy going, your stud, you could win that game, right? So you could sneak it out and the pitcher could win that game for you with some timely hitting, right? So yes, those would be the top. Dominican, I think, is the favorite going in right now. It looks like, but anything can happen. Like anyone could step up and guys that you didn't realize. Like as much as I said, Canada could be in tough. These guys that I just mentioned could come in and really shine on the big stage, right? So you just don't know what's going to happen with baseball. I think it's a little bit different. Like I said, like, you got hockey, you got football. One player is going to really turn things around in there, whereas 1 or 2 guys in baseball could win you a game. Not necessarily a series, but could win you a game or 2. So they'll be fun to watch. That's for sure. I'll look forward to it, but I'll be looking more forward to when the Jays start.
All right, so getting back to the Jays and Major League Baseball, if the Jays start off bad in April and May, do you think panic button will set in here?
I think they have to not panic, the fans. Like it might take some time. Like there are a bunch of new guys have come in.
And new stadium, basically.
Yeah, new stadium. So it might take some time. If they struggle to start off, I wouldn't get too worried about it. Now, if it continues on for a couple months, yes, you could see some things happening, but I don't think it's going to happen. I really don't. Like the players that they've added and what they subtracted by getting rid of, you've added guys that put winning before everything else. It doesn't matter. Like Varsho will run through a brick wall if it means that he's going to win that game. Bassett's another guy that takes it very seriously. There's no joking around. Yes, they can have fun, but we've talked about this before. Making fruit salad drinks and stuff like that are no longer. So you have guys that want to be there and want to win with the guys that they already have there, and Vlad and Bichette and Springer. I'm going to be watching this team very closely, like I do every year. But I think this year is just different. They can win with their speed, power, pitching. This is going to be an interesting team to watch.
So all joking aside here, but did they get rid of the Homer jacket?
Probably not. I don't I don't mind them celebrating like that. The only thing I don't like about the Homer jacket is when they're up or down a bunch of runs and they're still bringing that thing out, right? I'm old school guy. Just go sit down the bench, wait for your next time at bat, and that's the way it is. But every team's doing it, right? You see guys pushing bundle buggies down and throwing water in guys' face, wearing cowboy hats. So every team has their their home run celebration. But I think the jacket is still going to be there.
Well, you were on the scene here, one of the first ones to report Bo Bichette, 3 years, $33 million there. Is that too much? Too little? Because in the next 3 years, he's going to go from 33 to 133. Watch that.
Truthfully, I think the Jays got a pretty good deal there. I really do, because you look at what Bichette wanted for this year. He wanted $7.5 million, and he's got 2 years left after that. So you could say if he had a big year, like he could be asking what Vlad's getting, 17, 18 million. So with the bonuses that he could get, it takes him up to 40, just over 40 million. That's where I thought it would be. So that's where they ended up, but some bonuses will help him get there. It's the arbitration process sucks for the players. It really does. As we saw today, Corbin Burns from Milwaukee went and lost. He lost his case with Milwaukee, all over $749,000, and Milwaukee went in and pretty much said that the reason why they didn't make the postseason is because of Burns. So Burns has said that's left a sour taste in his mouth. So, that's something that these teams have to look at. Yeah, okay, you saved $750,000, but you honestly think Burns is going to want to stay there long term now?
What is
probably not?
And you're looking at what is really $750,000.
Well, right, and it's not like, and I'll give it to the Jays and Bichette is as much as they didn't come right off the bat and settle, they worked it out before the case came, and they got it done, because the Jays didn't want to go into this arbitration and say negative things about Bichette, and Bichette didn't obviously want to go and hear negative stuff about him, because the teams aren't going in saying he's the best player around to give the money up, right? They're going there to say why he doesn't deserve it. So I'm glad that they settled that, and now the Jays don't have to worry about Bichette for the next 2 years after this one. They know at the end of the year there's no arbitration for him. They can take care of it, and hopefully they can extend something more than the next 2 or 3 years with him. Vlad's another guy. He's got 2 more years as well. We'll see. Like I said, guys like we saw today with Corbin Burns saying, it left a sour taste in him, and their relationship is fractured now. Teams don't realize that could hold big, and Burns, as soon as he can, will get out of town.
So another thing that everybody's talking about today was Shohei Ohtani. He's entering his last, I guess, full year with Anaheim. And let me ask you this: pitcher, hitter, if he has another bang-up year, could he be the first guy to make 60 to 70 million a year?
I don't know if he'll get that much. He's going to get obviously his contract, whatever he does sign, isn't going to be a 10-year deal because he's a little bit older.
Yeah.
But he's going to get, man, he could get that $50 million. He could definitely get $50 million per year.
He's a pitcher, and he's a star pitcher, and he's a star player.
Yep. Now, the only problem is that there's only a few teams that can pay him that kind of money. And the Mets obviously is one of them. Do they want to go up? Like, they're already going to pay somewhere in the neighborhood of like $80, $90 million in luxury tax this year. Do they want to up that and pay like $110 million, $115 million next year in luxury tax? The Yankees, I don't see Ohtani ever going to the Yankees. Maybe the Dodgers, just go over a little bit from where the Angels play. It's going to be interesting to see. And what is Anaheim thinking going to be? If they're nowhere near a playoff spot, will they look, if they have no, indications that Ohtani will sign with them, do they decide to trade him?
Well, here's the other question. How long can Trout be in Anaheim, considering if they get rid of Ohtani, are they going to get eventually Trout? And he's getting older, but still arguably, if not the best, probably in top 3.
Yeah, as much as they have Ohtani there and Trout, they're still don't make the playoffs.
Yeah.
Right? So even if Trout, you could say, why is he staying there? Well, obviously he likes Anaheim. He loves playing there, likes living there. But if they're not winning with Ohtani anyways, you might as well bring in someone else and see if that helps out, right? And and see if that gives them a boost and see from there. Like, it's going to be an interesting year for Anaheim there, watching how that whole Ohtani situation unfolds. If they keep him, do they sign him? There's so many balls that are going to be in the air here with him. It'll be interesting to see. It will. Look what Soto got last year. Ohtani would get a lot more in any trade discussions, right? So the clock's on Anaheim now to see what they're going to do with Ohtani. And we'll see if Ohtani really wants to stay there, or does he want to go to a winner, right? Trout likes Anaheim. Ohtani might necessarily just, he wants to be in a winner. So he might go somewhere where he has a bigger chance to win and still, make, $50 million a year.
Just getting back to Martinez for a second, I like the fact that he's also Spanish, because you take away some Spanish blood on the team, but you have a veteran presence who's Spanish and all that can benefit, like because I'm Spanish, that can benefit all the Spanish, because Vlad still can't speak English, so and they're always in a little corner and all that. But here's the other thing that I want to mention: baseball said they're going to continue on with the extra inning rule, the time clock, and we'll have Steve, and we're going to try to have Steve on again, the time clock and everything like that. Let me ask you, what do you think will be the greatest change that players have to get used to this season, like right away?
Oh, it's going to be the pitch clock for sure. Like there's going to be guys that you watch some of these guys, they take so much time in between pitches. Now they have to get back up there and get ready to throw. The guy at the plate has to get in there and get ready. It's going to be a big change, and I saw that Gossman's talking about how he's going to have to change his motion with runners on base, because MLB is going to be playing closer attention now with the clock and guys coming set and in their stretch position for box. So he's got to tinker with that a little bit to make sure he comes set, so it's a clear stop in the motion. There's going to be some getting used to, I would say, with the pitch clock, because man on base, you got, I think it's 20 seconds, where the heck it is. You throw over, I think you're allowed to go twice over.
Yeah.
Before you have to go home. I don't know necessarily, but that'll be the biggest thing that will take some time to get used to for the pitchers for sure. And the hitters have to be ready as well, because the pitcher wants to go, the hitter has to be there.
Yeah, he has to pitcher.
He has to be there. And we've seen over the years, we've seen guys just, that are human, rain delays when they're on the mound, when they're at the plate. Like I just remember Nomar Garciaparra always fixing his gloves and doing all that stuff, right? And then there's guys that just get on the mound and let's go. No messing around. Let's go, right?
If this is successful, imagine how much better baseball is going to be, because we talk about Yankees and Red Sox 4-hour games.
Yeah.
If we could get 2 hours 20 minutes, that's like everything now. Hockey's 2 hours 20 minutes, basketball 2 hours 20 minutes. And okay, you have extra inning games or whatever, and you have the odd 3-hour game, but your average, from what Steve says, the average is 2 hours 32 minutes.
Yeah, so, to me, I don't care if the game's 2 hours or 4 hours. I really don't care. I'm there when I'm watching. I'm there to watch it. If I'm going to the park, I'm there till it's done. I'm not worried about, hey, I got to get it out of here at 2.5 hours. That's not what I'm looking at. It's but it will attract people.
Covering the game that I when I was in the media and all that, you won't believe, in the 5th inning, people leaving. 6th inning, people leaving. I don't see that in hockey, people leaving in the second period.
No, and I think, too, that has a lot to do with how many games there are in the MLB, right? So, okay, I'm leaving today. I got season tickets. I go down there. We'll go after work. We'll watch 5 innings. Then we'll come back the next day, watch another 5 innings. There's so many games. There's, what there is in NHL, MLB teams play at home that many games.
Yeah.
What the NHL and the NBA play overall. So there's so many games, and that's why some people bail or come late to games. Toronto's very bad for that, coming late to games. Like all of a sudden in the 4th inning, it's full, but in the 1st inning there was no one there. Same as hockey. Hockey's the same way. All sports are the same way. I think you got the bases too that are going to be bigger. I think they're going from 15 to 18 inches. So that's going to make, I guess, stealing. They want to increase people stealing bases. The shift, that's going to help a lot of guys. That's guys that are strictly pull hitters are going to benefit for this because there's no fourth outfielder out there standing in the outfield. That's going to make a difference. And I think that might help Varsho a lot this year, that there is no shift. He likes pulling the ball. So there's going to be some change. And over the next couple of years, we're going to maybe have that robocall in, right? So it's things are changing here. And, you know, the one thing about the pitch clock too, Joe, is that when you're, and I always have been this way when I was pitching, when you take too much time in between pitches and not getting back up there, getting ready to throw, the defense behind you sort of gets lackluster and isn't really into the game. So this might keep them engaged more, knowing that, hey, pitch is going to come. We got to stay in this. You know, it's just the same if a pitcher goes in there, just keeps throwing balls. His defense starts like drifting off and they're not really into the game. So then a ball's hit to them. You know, they boot it around because they're not into the game because the pitcher's not doing his job. So this 20-second pitch clock will help, I think, with some of those players staying engaged a lot more.
All right. So right now, I'm going to ask you, we're February 16th. We're about a month and a half, 6 weeks away. Are the Blue Jays winning the AL East?
I think that they're the team to beat in the AL East. I really do. And you look at the Yankees right now, they have 2 injuries. Montas is probably out for the season with some shoulder surgery. Yeah. And that's an interesting situation there because at first it was the doctors said if he can pitch through the pain, he can keep pitching. You know, basically no more damage is going to be done. And the next thing you know, he's opting for shoulder surgery. Cortez had to bail out of the WBC because of a hamstring injury. So they're already, haven't even started, and the Yankees already have some injuries that are going to hurt them. So I think if the Jays can stay healthy, and we've seen it, you know, Springer is notorious for getting hurt. Kiermaier gets hurt. So there is some guys in this lineup that do get hurt. So
let's
hopefully they can all stay healthy.
Because if they get injured in the outfield, there's like, who are you going to bring? Marty, you got to start trading, man, because who are you going to bring up?
Yeah, it's going to be like they have, you know, Merrifield there that can go in the outfield right now. Biggio that can go and relieve some guys in the outfield.
That's a week at best. Okay, you can't put a guy there for a month.
Nope. But I'm saying that hopefully that they rotate them in and they give, you know, a guy like Springer and Kiermaier some time off so they're not taking as much abuse on their body. Like Springer said he's feeling really good. He had the I think it was bone chips I think he had removed. Yeah. He said his arm's feeling really good. So hopefully, you know, because that's what bothered him a lot last year was that elbow or whatever it was. Yeah. You could see him when he was swinging. So hopefully that doesn't bother him and he stays healthy. That's the big thing in this. It's a long season. Can these guys stay healthy? And, you know, for a lot of them, they can. Like Jansen for the last couple of years has been hurt an awful lot. Can he stay healthy? Now, the good thing, at least with that, is as much as they traded Moreno away, Varsho can go and catch if need be. Yeah. So there's no concern with that. Well, I think the Jays are. I think the Jays are the team to beat in the East. I really do. It'll be interesting to see how they come out of the gates. Their starting rotation, Manoah, how is he going to be? Gossman, is he going to have the same year he had last year? Bassett's, you know, Barrios. That's the big one right there is Barrios. Yeah. Does he bounce back and pitch like he did before he got to Toronto?
If he does, imagine a fourth starter winning 15 games.
Right. You have a very solid, probably the best in the American League if Barrios can come back the way he was. And we'll see if Kikuchi's that 5 guy. I know Mitch White's injured. He hurt his shoulder or something like that. So no big loss in my opinion. Like Mitch White's not around. Mitch White's not around. I'm not a fan of him.
You could get like from Walmart, right? Because they don't pitch really every 5th day. Come on, like
early. Like there's off days in that they can miss the 5th guy. But if Kikuchi can pitch like a 5th guy should, you know, go out there and give you some quality innings, not necessarily win every time out, but you know, give you 8 to 10 wins in the year, keep that ERA somewhere around 4. That's a pretty good 5th guy that they have there. And then I still think that Pearson somehow is going to be somewhere in this. I don't know if it's going to be that starter or in the bullpen.
Well, Pearson, let's hope he stays healthy, and let's hope for all Blue Jay fans' sake, everybody stays healthy because on paper, like they always say, on paper, great team and all that, but on paper they could also one bad injury, two bad injuries, and it could be all finished. So I'm going to ask you our final question as we close out here at Fired Up Live and around the majors and all that. Which is the toughest division right now in Major League Baseball? We have, Blue Jays and we have Yankees, and Tampa's always like, I don't understand Tampa because always you say in Blue Jays division to win, but who's right behind them? Forget the Yankees. It's going to be Tampa. You know that.
Well, you got that National League East.
Yeah.
you have those guys over there that is pretty solid there. That like there's three teams there that could win 100+ games in that division.
Yeah.
And
Philadelphia, Atlanta,
Atlanta, and the Mets.
Yeah.
So you got those
Too
three
bad for
guys.
Miami.
Well, right, but like Philadelphia made some big gets as well. They went out and got Turner. Yes, Harper isn't going to be there. I don't know when he'll be back, but I think it was Tommy John surgery as well. So the good thing is he'll be able to swing. He doesn't necessarily need have to throw the ball. So that's the good thing there. But Philadelphia has a pretty solid team. The Mets with all the moves that they did and signing some other guys, and Atlanta is always there. So that's a solid division there. Like you look at the American League East, yes, the Yankees, the Jays, and Tampa. I don't know if it necessarily compares to the three in the National League East. And you still look at that West and NL as well, right? You still got the Dodgers, San Diego, San Francisco. As much as San Francisco's lost some players, they still have some guys there that can play. So I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait till I think Sportsnet actually showing more games this year during the spring training than they have in any other year, right? So it'll be great to get going. I'm going to guess another week they'll start playing some games, and it's about time. It's been a long winter without watching baseball.
So as we close it out here, a couple of days ago, Tim McCarver, 81 years old, famed broadcaster, passing away here. They announced it today, but I believe he passed away 2-3 days.
Yeah, he passed away a couple of days ago. I was reading. I didn't even know, and I saw it on Twitter, and I saw someone posted. I'm like, really? And then I looked, and I didn't see anything. And then someone wrote an article today about it. So, yeah, 81. I didn't think he was 81 years old. He didn't look 81 years old. He looked really good when the last time we saw him in the booth. I can't remember when the last time was, but yeah, there's
in 6 months. Last 6 months, we lost LA Dodgers, Vin Scully, and now Tim McCarver. So it's like, give me your favorite Tim McCarver. He was, I know here we're more about the Blue Jays. When we look back, Fergie Oliver and Tom Cheek, Jerry Howarth, just on the radio side and all that, but McCarver was there for a long time with Bob Costas there, and for the guy who, Joe Buck, not his son there, and he should give Tim McCarver a lot of credit because he was starting out and he was paired up with Tim McCarver also.
Yeah, McCarver is, I like listening to these former big league players that don't make the broadcast about them. They know their stuff, but they don't relate it back to this is what I did or this is how I did it. They give you your insight, but you just feel like, hey, I could listen to this guy for forever. And he was one of those guys, and he had that voice to talk. And there's not many of them around. Like we listen to the Jays guys with Tabler and Martinez. I know Tabler's not there, but they don't, like, McCarver was better than those guys. Buck's pretty good, but McCarver
and for that
really
matter,
good.
I don't think now that he hasn't, but remember, I don't know if you probably remember Tony Kubek. He was here all the time. He was good, and we didn't. I don't know if appreciation is the right word, but Tony Kubek was very good here.
Yep, and we have Dan Schulman. Yeah. That's the play-by-play, and he's one of the best around. And you know what? He just goes with when something's thrown his way or something is said and he doesn't necessarily agree with it, or he scratches, he just moves on. He just keeps going. He doesn't act like, what the heck did you just say? And he's just, whether it's he's calling NCAA basketball games or he's full time this year with the Blue Jays. So we get to listen to Dan Shulman every single game, which is nice because when he's not there, it sort of misses something with the broadcast. And Shulman being there is a guy that, has decided he just wants to stay in Toronto this year and do the games for the Blue Jays, which is great. Now, I'm guessing it has a lot to do with his young kid and his wife.
He just
that he
got
wants to spend.
remarried also. He just got remarried also. So
that he wants to be around. But, the Jays always have had guys that come in and they do games. And, Showman is might be the best one they've had.
Yeah. And again, for those who just tuning in, Tim McCarver, baseball great broadcaster, passing away at the age of 81 years old. Again, and pitchers and catchers reported today we're about a week away from spring training. By the way, the Blue Jays home opener will be April 11th. April 11th. They start on the road. I think it's a 9-game road trip because of the renovations here at the Rogers Center. But I believe April 11th, it's Detroit. I think it's Detroit. So it's April 11th, home opener, and really in a new home, long overdue since 1989 when they moved to Skydome, now Rogers Center, and played Milwaukee Brewers. Paul Molitor got the first hit in Skydome. Paul Molitor.
Molitor.
Yeah.
It's, the Jays, their team's pretty much set, but there is a couple spots open. Like the bullpen, there could be a guy here or there. Like Richards might be on the bubble.
Is there a spot open? Because you mentioned, the flamethrower there. He has a position.
It's going to be interesting to see because you also don't forget, like Chad Green's going to be in here at some point during this year, probably July, August, somewhere in that neighborhood. So then what happens?
Ryu's coming back then too.
Yeah, you got Ryu. So it's going to be interesting to see with that. Like, Richards could be a guy that's thrown in a trade somewhere. You got Zach Pop, right? That might not be in the bullpen to start the year. Pearson, the one thing with Pearson, I think he still has some options left. So he could be in the bullpen and then send him down and bring him up, So that might be something we see with Pearson. He does start in the bullpen. Like when he was in the Mexican, I think it was the fall league.
Yeah.
He dominated there in his 13 innings, right? 17 strikeouts, didn't allow any runs, couple hits, and only walked a couple guys. So that's a guy that if Pearson can figure it out, and I've said this for probably the last 3 or 4 years, I take abuse for it because I'm such a Pearson guy. I just love how he throws. But for some reason, freak injuries tend to follow him around.
Just had bad luck. Bad luck.
Whether it's he got mono last year, he got a line drive off his shoulder, broke his arm 1 year, like the hernia, the sports hernia. If this guy could just figure it out, because not everyone can throw 100 miles an hour in this game. Yes, there's more and more of them that are now, but he can throw it on a consistent basis, 98 to 100 miles an hour. If they can get him straight health-wise, that is such a big add when you got guys in that bullpen in Romano, Swanson, if Green's there. You got guys with swing and miss stuff now, which you hadn't had in the last few years. Now your bullpen, because truthfully, what cost us the game against Seattle, besides Schneider taking Kosman out, was the bullpen blew up.
Imploding,
right?
Yeah.
Bass didn't throw very well. So if we have guys that are back there where, Schneider doesn't feel worried about, hey, I can take this guy out and bring this guy in. The only concern I have still is our left-handed reliever is Mesa. And he really struggles getting right-handed guys out.
And that leads me to the next question. And your old lefty 22, that's your handle there. So you mentioned Pearson throwing 100 miles an hour. Why is it, and I know Chapman, why does Chapman throws 99, 100 miles, but why do mostly righties throw 100 and lefties maybe 95?
Yeah, it's a weird thing. You say, crafty lefties, right?
Yeah.
Lefties.
Jimmy King, your idol, was
right?
what was he? 87 at most.
Yeah, their ball always moves. Lefty. There's always movement on the ball, whether it's dropping this way, moving this way. So that was always the case with lefties. Yes, the guys that still could bring it, like Billy Wagner could throw it up there. Randy Johnson could throw it up there. It just was that way. I can't really say why. Just that lefties just didn't need to throw 95, 97 to be successful in the MLB. Ryu, another guy, 90 miles an hour, right? And he had success in the. Now it's becoming a little bit more different.
Yeah,
guys,
but almost every guy throws at least 100. Your measuring stick was 97 before. Yep. Now it's 103.
Yeah, it is. And what that's doing to me, truthfully, is it's nice to have that guy that throws 100 miles an hour. What that, truthfully, to me is doing is not giving kids that are pitchers the opportunity to play pros in the pro game. You got guys that throw 90, 91 miles an hour can get guys out, but they're not getting that look now because they're not sitting 95, 96 miles an hour. And that to me is sad because there's a lot of good pitchers. Like you watch a lot of the NCAA games when it comes to the World Series, the College World Series. A lot of their main guys are guys that throw upper 80s, low 90s. And they're starting the big games for them. Why? Because they can get guys out. They know what to do, get ground balls. And a guy who gets a lot of ground balls is a guy who can go deep into a game. A guy who strikes out a lot of guys usually doesn't go deep in a game because you're throwing more pitches.
Yeah.
So that's the one thing that's missing is you don't see those true pitchers as much. There's no Tom Glavine's, Greg Maddox's around anymore. Yeah. And like you said, there's guys, sitting 98, 99 miles an hour now. And some of them are still doing that in the 6th or 7th inning.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And you being a pitcher, can you even fathom that?
No. It was like the hardest I ever, I touched was 90. I sat somewhere around 86, 87. But to throw that hard, I would just expect my arm to fall off if I did. I really would.
The hardest you threw was 90. Think about that. And we see some pitchers throwing 13 miles an hour harder.
Yeah, I'll tell you. Like when I was at school, I remember we were facing a team from Marietta, Georgia, and he got drafted by the New York Mets. And we're sitting at Doug, and it's just a different sound of a guy throwing upper 90s. It's just all we heard was the seams going and then the pop of the glove. I'm like, what the heck? And the ball looked like a Tylenol coming in. That's how small it looked. Bless you, Joseph.
Thank you.
The ball looked like a Tylenol. Just like all you hear was the seams go, and it's like, what the heck? And it's just
imagine you hear it. Imagine you try to hit it.
I never faced a guy throwing. When I was hitting, I never faced a guy throwing that hard. Thank God. Worst fear would be.
Imagine, and I don't want to curse anybody, but imagine getting hit by it.
Well, that would leave. Like I got hit a couple times with guys throwing upper 80s and it leaves a mark. Imagine a guy throwing 100 miles an hour. Like you would have Rawlings tattooed on wherever you were hit.
For people who don't know, you talk about a baseball. A baseball is a piece of rock. Like honestly, like it's solid.
Yeah, there's just there's a little rubber ball inside of it. That's you got laces all in and thread and all that stuff, and it hurts, man. Like when you get hit by that, it hurts. That the worst time I ever got hit was actually when I was pitching, and I got a line drive back at me, and it went off my ankle. And I tell you, what's that?
Did it break your ankle?
No, they thought it was. Like there's actually a nurse there that thought my ankle was shattered, but like it blew up like a balloon. And to this day, and that happened when I was 18 years old. To this day, it still bothers me. So it hurts, and I give it to those guys that can just brush it off and run down. You don't want to show that it hurt you, but I can tell you right now, anyone who gets hit, runs down the first base, in his mind, he's thinking, gosh, that hurts. But he doesn't want to show that the pitcher got the best on, so he just runs down there. But there will be marks on that body that was hit with the baseball, because it does hurt, man. I honestly think, like, I played hockey at a high level and I played baseball. Baseball is one of the toughest sports to get. As much as people think, oh, it's, you don't do very much out there. Like we just said, go and take a stick, put it in your hands, and face some guy throwing 95 miles an hour. Let's see how you do. And then let's mix it up and throw in a curveball or a slider that starts at you and then bails out. Like, it's a tough thing to do.
Let alone that, like you mentioned 20 minutes ago, 162 games compared to 82 from every other league, and let alone the 82 from the other league, maybe one or two they have afternoon games. They always play at 7 o'clock. Here in baseball, 3 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Like, because I mentioned that because you're playing outdoors mostly. The sun at 3 o'clock is dead. You can't see the ball. 4 o'clock, 7 o'clock, twilight. The adjustments that the players have to do, 162 games a year.
Well, and here's the other thing, Joe, is that let's look at it this way. So pitchers and catchers reported today.
Yep.
Let's say that team, whatever team it is, goes and wins the World Series. They're playing baseball
November
for 9 months.
Yep.
9 months. Whether a league is 9 months long. Even the training camps for these other teams is maybe 4 weeks long.
Yep.
MLB starts now and goes to the end of March.
Yeah, and let alone, and if you win the World Series, last year was November 5th or something. They're probably November 3rd this year. So February 16th to November 3rd. Then
it's a long grind. It's not, obviously it's not as physical a game as what, NHL and NFL would be, but it's still a toll on your body. They're out there all the time, running on basically in some spots concrete like the turf is, and start and stopping.
And you're expected to come every game because these players, your average player, even Springer played 130 games. He missed 30 games, but 130, that's already 82 games in hockey times 60 or times 50. Like
it's a very, like I said, tough game. Not like any physicalness like I said, those two sports, but it is physically demanding game. It is mentally demanding game. It is, a guy gets in a slump, that takes a toll on him. Pitchers that are struggling throwing strikes, that takes a toll on them. So there's, it is, as much as people want to say, oh, it's an easy game to play. No, it's not. And that's why there's not a heck of a lot of guys that make it to pro sports, because it's a tough game.
Just think about going 18 games hitless, right? When you talk about hockey, 18 games goalless, that's a third of the year.
Well, and here's the other thing, Joe, is that you got to remember too, a lot of these guys have families, and they're 9 months pretty much away from, yes, they'll come in and some of them will stay in Toronto or wherever they're at. But these other teams get to go back and after 4 months or 5 months of their year, go back and see their family, hang out with their family. MLB doesn't have that. They pretty much go from, the start of April till the end of September for the season and then into the playoffs, right? It's a tough grind. It really is. And more times on the road that they got to go and, play home here, and then we're off to here. No days off in between. They, leave a flight on Thursday and they're playing Friday again. There's no time off. So it is, baseball to me is a game that, as much as I said I played hockey, baseball was always my sport. I always loved doing it, and just everything about it that happens. You see things happen and you're like, you never seen before, and
it's every day. That's why. It's every day something could happen that we haven't seen before. Every day. All right, Marty, as we're going to close out this, any last comments, baseball, football, anything that you want to touch on?
Well, we got, I had this discussion with my son a bit, and we saw that Clevenger is under investigation now for from domestic violence, but they're allowing him to go to spring training.
Yeah.
And I said that, Bauer was suspended for pretty much 2 years, I guess it was.
Yeah.
And to me, if Bauer was the guy would just have shut up, didn't post on social media all the time, wasn't a thorn in the MLB side, Bauer probably would have been back sometime last year and would probably have a contract somewhere now, and the Dodgers might have picked it up. But because he was such a mouthpiece, and he still hasn't learned it, he really hasn't. Whereas Clevenger isn't a guy that bitches and moans.
Yeah.
He might to his buddies, but he's not on social media doing it. So I think that's why he's allowed to be at camp right now. He's not as vocal as someone like a Bauer, because there's been domestic violence before in the MLB, and those players they've had a suspension, but not a lengthy one like Bauer had. So I think Bauer should just learn to be quiet, and I'd be very surprised if anyone picks up Bauer. I really would be.
And he's not young, so it's like,
But we'll switch this for a second. I don't know if you talked about Carr from Las Vegas turning down the deal to the Saints. And I was saying it to my cousin. I'm like, he's got to be careful, because you know what? Contracts aren't guaranteed. So Vegas could just say, forget you, we're ripping it up. And that's exactly what they did. Yep. Carr is not what was it, 40 some odd $1 million he just got taken away from him because he didn't want to go to New Orleans? Carr is an okay quarterback.
Where are you going to go? The people say the Jets, people say Tennessee. There's not a lot of places that you could go where he's going to replace Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Okay.
Here's something that I look at it, and he got the starting role taken away from him. And then what did he do right away? He bailed on the team.
Yeah.
He stayed home. And what excuse did he give? Oh, I want this to be his time. No, you should have been there helping the kid out.
Yeah.
And be there and suck it up and don't say, oh, I'm not showing up. So to me, it's just showing more and more that he's just a me guy. And a lot of teams will not want that around as their quarterback, because he hasn't won. He has never won in the NFL.
And you talk about a quarterback, like, we got to give it to, even though Josh Allen, but Patrick Mahomes, man.
Well, he is just an unbelievable.
You see him in the second quarter, and you talk about baseball physics, the grimace on his face.
Yep.
Like, you wouldn't think, you thought it's already, they were losing big time.
Yep.
Philadelphia was winning, and then
he got landed on the ankle again, went the wrong way, and you could see him limping just before the end of the half, right? Like you thought, Kansas City's done.
But everybody wants to know Marty's Roberts on the halftime show. So give us your thoughts on the halftime show. Were you under the umbrella, Ella? Were you shining like a diamond? Were you working, work? Come on.
If I could have, Joseph, if my wife was not sitting to the left of me during the show, I would have shut it off. I would have shut it. I did not find it exciting. I did not find it entertaining.
When you entertained and I'm going to get in trouble for this, but Rihanna just gave birth 8 months ago, 9 months ago.
She's and I don't think hardly anyone knew that she was when she came on the stage. Like, what the heck?
Like, nobody knew that.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at her, she's more than 3 months. So
yeah, she for sure. I was expecting her to bring someone out, whether it's Eminem, Jay-Z, whoever. I thought they're gonna she was gonna bring someone out to liven it up a little bit, but did not. And I just didn't enjoy it. To go from me extremely liking the halftime show last year to this year going, yes, she can sing. I'm not going to say she can't sing. It just didn't throw me. I know there's lots of people that loved it. There's lots of people that loved it. I was not one of them.
All right. So that brings up February 11th, 2024 in Vegas, Super Bowl 58 at home, where the Buffalo Bills are going to be in the Super Bowl. Who would you
You've been saying that for how many years now, Joseph?
I know, but one year I'm going to be right. I got the script, Marty. By the way, the script, whoever makes the scripts calling Cincinnati and Dallas in the Super Bowl. All right.
I can see Cincinnati. Like Cincinnati's just a team with.
Hold on. There's a guy here who covers his eyebrows. Wants to hear you don't believe in the Dallas Cowboys.
Nope. He's not overly impressed with. He calls him Dakota. He doesn't even call him by his Dak. He's calling him Dakota. He was not impressed how he is, and I said that to him, a few times throughout the years that Dallas cannot win with him as a quarterback. He just makes too many bad turnovers, and that's what's happened. I don't think they can win with him as their quarterback.
That brings up Dakota or Derek Carr.
Only reason why I would keep Prescott is because he's a team guy. He's a stand-up guy. Carr, to me, is not. Like I said, he's not a guy that I don't think Dallas will really like him there. They like Dak there. Unfortunately, he just makes some bad decisions, but I think they would stay with Prescott as over Carr for sure. I just hope Washington doesn't say, "Oh, let's go get Carr."
Marty Roberts, I'm thrilled to announce there's two announcements. One, as you know, I'm the president of the provinces of Canada, the new mayor-elect of North America, but I'm throwing my hat. Where's the hat? Anyways, I'm throwing my hat in the ring. I'm running for the mayor of Toronto. Do I get your vote?
You do know you have to go into the office every now and then, right, Joseph, if you won the mayor?
Listen, don't talk to me about semantics, man. I can do whatever I want. All right, whatever I want.
Joseph, you would have my vote, but I don't live in Toronto, so I can't vote for you.
Yeah, well, whatever. All right, nobody lives in Toronto. I got the whole staff. Nobody lives in Toronto here, okay? But here it is, Marty. I know you're excited for this one. Tomorrow, we're going to do this every Friday at noon now. Every Friday at noon, the world-famous soccer show is back. Hopefully, with Giancarlo Lino, with Carmen Asako, really hopefully, and a guy who I can depend on, the Hall of Famer, John Freeman Nelson. I don't care if it's at 11 o'clock. I don't care if it's at noon. I don't care if it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. John Nelson will be there. I don't know about John
Can you really think about possibly switching that show to 11 p.m. at night?
No, because Carmen.
So then that way I can watch it and sleep a lot better?
No, Carmen is sleeping and eating Nino D'Aversa.
Is Carmen going to be there tomorrow?
Listen, hopefully Giancarlo will be there and Carmen Asako will be there with his long blushed hair, his Team Canada. I got to ask him about the Canadian women's soccer going on strike. What the hell's going on there? They win.
Well, I thought they were not going to play. And then I heard today on the radio that they are playing.
They're being forced to.
I don't know.
But the one who have all the insights is Carmen Asako. So Marty Roberts.
Carmen better be there tomorrow to give us the information that we so desperately need. We need to know the ins and outs of what's going to happen with the women's Team Canada team, Carmen. So make sure you get up, brush that pretty hair of yours, and get on and tell us what we need to know for the soccer show tomorrow, Carmen.
And by the way, Carmen, go to Subway, buy me the tuna sub. It's cheap on Fridays.
Tuna.
Right?
Oh, my tuna. You're going to eat tuna from a sub place?
Listen, you don't know the president of problem. If it's free, it's me. All right?
Oh, don't worry. I already know free and you. Don't worry.
So Marty Roberts, tell everybody how they could get a hold of you. 3.5 hour amazing show tonight. Honestly, Marty, all joking aside, one of the best baseball talks that you've seen on independent television anywhere.
You're welcome for that, Joseph. You're welcome for that, Joseph.
I carried you for another hour, all right? So go ahead, Marty. Tell everybody how they can get a hold
with Taylor and Justin, you didn't let me in.
You weren't here.
Oh, yes, I was. Here. Taylor and Justin, listen, I was there. He just didn't want me to come in and ask Taylor where my jersey was.
Your jersey it's coming. And
is the trade deadline March 3rd?
Yes. So It's a Friday, March 3rd.
Joseph, I am off on March 3rd.
All right, Marty Roberts is off. We're going to have a cornucopia of people. Marty Roberts
I am off March 3rd. You know why I'm off March 3rd? I have a concert to go to March 3rd.
Who is it?
It's I Love the 90s.
You love the 90s?
With,
you were born in the 60s.
With Rob Bass.
Rob Bass.
Young MC.
Young MC, man.
And Vanilla Ice.
Vanilla Ice, baby.
Yeah, up at Casino Ram, I'm going to watch this concert.
But even more, are you going to take some of the shekels I pay you and throw it into some betting states or what?
Yeah, but unfortunately, they don't take nothing to pull the arms. I need to put actual coins inside there, Joseph.
Wait a minute. Do you know? I just found this out. Canadian Tire doesn't have money now. They have like a card now.
Yeah, they don't hand you that Canadian Tire paper anymore. You got a rewards card, I guess it is. And actually some pretty good rewards that they give you.
What did they give you? A free bottle of Gatorade or what?
No, they say that, they give you 2 times your points, and it acts as actual money, so you can use it at the store.
Wow!
Yeah, it's not a bad deal.
Marty Roberts, wait a minute. You're March 3rd. You're going to Casino Rama or whatever. But do you know you and Justin are going to man the trade deadline desk at 6 a.m. You're working from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And you know what? I may. I'm debating really hard because I got to comb my hair, do my eyebrows, and may bring somebody formally of the Fired Up Network who is all fired up to kick your ass. That's what he says.
No, he's getting ready for baseball season as well.
No, but we're taking trade deadline NHL. Do you think he knows anything about the NHL? Or he just talks about the Maple Leafs and the Dallas Cowboys or all that?
He thinks he knows a lot about everything, but he knows very little about everything.
Are you talking about Norm Rumack? All right.
Hammerhead alert.
Yeah, and that hammerhead never called. My sister's very disappointed. Send me a text. Every year I get a call, a text, an email, a Facebook message from the Hammerhead Alert guy about my birthday. He did it 10 days early. That's not my birthday, my sister says.
I'll just look at it this way. He was just excited to say it to her. So he got out there early and said he wanted to be the first one.
Marty, much like your friend, he gets excited to see your head. All right.
Is this Ryan Reynolds to my I guess it'd be my left shoulder, or is that right?
I see Norm.
I think that's Ryan Reynolds there.
I think I see Norm Rumack sitting to the right of you. With
it might be. Is that him up the top there with the long gray hair? Ryan Reynolds going to buy the Ottawa Senators.
Yeah, that's some guy named Bill with the long red hair there. But all right, for Marty Roberts, Justin Levine, Taylor Woods, Giancarlo Lino, also Courtney Riddell, Drew Ebanks, Anthony K. This has been an outstanding edition of Fired Up Live, the flagship show of the Fired Up Network. Don't forget, tomorrow, noon.
The soccer show, noon. Make sure you watch it. It is stuff that you will not see anywhere else. Hopefully Carm shows up, though.
Most riveting TV, no flip-flopping there, no red cards there. Giancarlo Lino with his haircuts, everything like that. Check it out.
John Nelson with his scarves around.
Oh,
you're going to see
John Nelson in the Scarf Museum, the Hall of Famer, John Freeman Nelson. And again, happy birthday to my sister. I bid you adieu. That means good night, Marty Roberts.